What is going on, my Ghost Squad? Trey here with Ghost Tactical for Tactical Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, January 30th, 2018. I want to thank everybody for joining us, and let's see who is going out there in the chat room. I want to give a quick shout out to the asshole Yankee. Yankee has been sick a couple days now, missed his Sunday chat, and what does that do? He decides to cork me on Tuesday night on my time slot. He decided to go live. So if you're over there watching Yankee right now and you're going to catch us on the replay, yeah, thanks, Yankee. Appreciate you, dickhead. No, for all you guys out there, hopefully you guys, he won't be too big of a big distraction. You guys can watch Yankee anytime. He's going to do the same thing. He's just going to bitch and moan about stuff. So let's see who's out there in the YouTube world right now. Sean Callanan, what's going on? Grim, Tardot, Roosted, 40 Cal Gal, Travis T. What's going on, guys? On the Gun Channel side, we have got Night Strike, Ralph, Cycle Camp, Ohio 45 ACP, Jim Burgess, Steve Ballou, Pink. Pink's also in here. John Z, Hottie, and Grim. Grim's working double duty. What's going on, my guys? Like I said, I expect Gunpowder Beauty. How you doing, sweetheart? I know that it's going to be maybe a little slower night than we had. You guys can watch it on the replay, but tonight's show is going to be awesome. What I've decided to do was, since SHOT Show was last week, I got a panel together of a bunch of people that were at SHOT in various ways. Some people were doing digital photography, some were doing media on the video side. Some people were doing there for the reviews. And then we've also got a manufacturer here to tell us the experience that they had for SHOT Show from there. So real quick, I'm going to run through the room and let everybody say hello and introduce themselves and tell the viewers a little about who they are and what they do. So we're going to start out with Sean. Sean is with 2A Guys and Gears. Welcome to the show, Sean.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So go ahead and tell our viewers, if they're not familiar with you guys, who you are and what you guys do.
Yeah, we do video reviews or gun reviews and gear reviews. Basically all kind of reviews. You know, on different stuff. Not even necessarily firearms, but plus or anything related to the field.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put your link out here in the chat for those who want to check you out. There it is. I'll put it on the Gun Channel side as well. So, guys, go check out 2A Guys and Gear. I met Sean in the media room. I'm not even sure which day it was. They all kind of run together, but we have a mutual friend in Marco, so it kind of just started kind of hanging out and talking a little bit. So, like I said, I thought I'd bring you in and kind of get your side of what SHOT Show was. From the Gun Channel side, we have Pink, and Pink Panther was there covering the digital photography side for GunChannels.com. Pink, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us, buddy.
Yep, thanks for the invite.
Spent a lot of time with Pink. Pink kind of drove me around town for a little bit. He had a rental car between Uber and Pink. That's how my transportation for the week. So I appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, at least you didn't bitch about turning left on red. So.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole different story, isn't it? We've got a guy that we met at SHOT Show. He's got some great product out there, and he's going to be talking to us a little bit about SHOT Show from the manufacturer side. We got Pablo from ConcealmentExpress.com. It's a holster company. Pablo, welcome to the show, and tell everybody who you are and about your products.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, we're a Kydex holster manufacturer. I guess there's thousands of those guys out there today, but I guess what makes us different is that we've developed a process where we can produce our holsters and get them out the door same day. So we're pretty proud of that. So
yeah, they got some really awesome stuff, and I've got a video that will be coming out in the next week or so, covering their booth and all of that. Let's see here. Let me copy this over here. All right. We've got, I don't know if he's famous or infamous or, the king of his own domain. Let's see here. GWeb saves keeps logging me in with his personal profile. Oh, we don't want to do that. Is that G-Wiz that said that, or someone else? Might have been Jeff. But we've got from Kevin, the Tack Daddy from Gun News Weekly, and also I guess with Funker Tactical now. But Tack, thanks for coming on as always. I appreciate you once again. And Tack was very instrumental in helping me maneuver through SHOT as a newbie. So I want to say thank you personally. Thank you for that. But tell us about Tack Daddy, the Gun News Weekly, and Funker.
Oh, man, thanks. I appreciate it. And, again, just trying to help where I can. Man, I'm infamous until I get home, and then my wife and 2 kids slap me back into reality. Let's just put it that way. However, at SHOT Show, we did some stuff for Gun News Weekly and also a few different productions for the Funker Tactical team and a bunch of meetings and future-forward fun stuff that's going to be awesome for the whole gun world in terms of quality content and great people working together, that kind of stuff. So pretty exciting year ahead, and the SHOT was way different this year. I'll be behind the camera or in front of the camera for probably 3 produced videos and a highlight film, whereas in the past I've done what you guys did, which is 20, 30 videos. So a little bit different this year. So that'll be my angle. Is it was a different feel, but man, did it fly by. God, was I busy. It flew by.
Yeah, I think we ran into you a couple times, and that was about all we saw of you the whole time we were there. So that was weird.
We were on the move,
Right on.
But
we've got from gearreport.com, we've got JJ and Jeff. Guys, what's going on? And welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on and spent some really good time with these guys. I think that was Tuesday after day 1 of SHOT Show. We hung out for a little bit and hung out with these guys for a little while. We actually kind of got kicked out. I think people were waiting for us to leave. So JJ and Jeff, thanks for coming on and welcome to the show. Tell everybody about gearreport.com.
Thank you, guys. This is JJ, and Gear Report, of course, we report on gear. So we talk to manufacturers, and we try to do a consumer end review or article, which is a written report that we write on our website, and that's how we pretty much provide information for the customers to see if things are worth buying them.
Yeah, well said.
If you got anything to add to that?
Do I have anything to add? Not well. I don't think
you did pretty well with that.
Yeah, I mean, you can hear me, right? Yeah,
I can hear you fine.
Excellent. Sorry. No, he did well. Good job. Now in Spanish, please.
Oh, in Spanish?
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he's not going to have a problem with that. So yeah, we'll do the closed caption here for in Spanish. We're available on SAP.
All right.
Yeah. Let's see here. Welcome. He's on our show every Tuesday. He started GunChannels.com and gun websites and gear websites. He's kind of an OG of the gun community. G-Webs, are you available? I know you've been having some technical issues. Are you here?
Yeah. Well, thanks for the invite. I don't have any technical issues.
Thanks for coming. Okay. Yeah. I thought it was something about login or something, but I'm glad you're here and welcome back. Let's see here. We have my good buddy who I actually we split a room at SHOT Show. You guys know him. He's on all the podcasts and all of that. But the tactical leprechaun himself, Clover Tack. How's it going, bud? You're muted. You might not even be with us anymore.
Yeah, it helps if you click the mute button, doesn't it?
Just sometimes it does.
Yeah, I think he's probably disappeared, so he might not be here anymore.
Yeah. So, what's up? Good to be here. Yep.
There it is.
We got a latecomer, Danny. What's going on? Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you jumping in the last minute. Hope everything's going well for you.
Yes, sir. Everything's going good. Had a great visit at SHOT Show myself. Absolutely.
Well, guys, here's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to go check the chat real quick and make sure that, we kind of got a crowd starting to come out of the woodworks. I guess he gave up on Yankee, which is all a smart idea. He's just going to get you sick anyways, in more ways than one. Trying to go through Full House on the chats. Yeah, I love the Full House. Guys, if I miss some of the chats out there, resend them because the discussion is going to be kind of taking me. But if you guys want us to get something in, if I don't check it on the chat, go ahead and email me an email at live@ghosttactical.us. And if you got any questions for any of these guys out here, we'll be able to answer as much as we can and answer all the questions you want. So if we don't catch it out here in the chat, please email it to live@ghosttactical.us, and I'll make sure I'll have my phone right here, and the email is up. So if you have anything, just go ahead and email it to us. But what I'd like to start out doing, guys, is talking a little about. We'll kind of run it through the room, and we'll start with Sean. And how many years have you been going to SHOT, and how do you compare this year versus previous years? Because this was my first experience, but I've heard from a lot of different people that maybe it wasn't as big of a crowd or whatever, and maybe some of the manufacturers that have been there weren't there or whatever. But in your experience, Sean, how was SHOT Show for you this year?
It was a great show. It's my second time going, and I did notice that on the first day it wasn't jam packed like it normally is, and that Wednesday it was kind of packed, and then it kind of died off again. And then I was surprised to see a few empty booths. Actually, quite a few, probably at least 6 or 7 empty booths, which I was kind of surprised about. But there was a lot of cool product. There was definitely it can be overwhelming, and it's a lot to take in 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, it is. That's for sure. Pink, this was your second year, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that you and Smiggy, man, you guys were knocking it out. And if you guys haven't gone yet, go over to the Instagram side and follow Pink Panther and Smeggy42 over there. They knocked it out on the photography side. I know they were just busting it. So how was SHOT Show for you this year, and how did you compare it to last year? Did it help having Smeggy help you out, or how did that dynamic work?
Yeah, it helped a lot having him help me out, because I was having trouble with my phone. I'm having battery issues on it. Like on the last day, it completely went down to 0 on the battery and just died on me. So
all of a sudden, did it go from like 90 to 0, or
very quickly?
Slowly drained very quickly.
Yeah, if I don't keep it hooked to an external battery, it just dies instantly.
How many between you and Smeggy? Do you have any idea of how many pictures were taken?
No, I don't. I just know I wish I could have taken more. I know I took more last year. So.
Really? Yeah, those guys. Yeah, thanks, Clover. Clover put their handles on Instagram out there in the chat. So, but yeah, go check these guys out. They really busted it, and they got some great shots. I'm really proud to have Pablo here. Pablo is from Concealment Express Holsters. He introduced himself earlier, but Pablo, I know you said this was your first time to actually have a booth. And for those of you who don't understand, you've got the main floor, which is level 2, and then you've got the first level. I spent probably 80% of my time on level 1. I really enjoyed going down there and met you, obviously, and meeting a lot of the guys down there that are maybe first couple years in there and all of that. But how was SHOT Show this year as a manufacturer? Was it all that you thought it was going to be? Was it more? Was it less? And give everybody a little behind the scenes of what goes through the planning and all of that as a manufacturer that actually sets up a booth at SHOT Show.
Yeah. So yeah, like we've gone the last 2 years as just attendees like everybody else, and trying to get in. And I think my first impression after exhibiting is that as a manufacturer, when you're going and visiting people and talking to them, and you're not an exhibitor, nobody really takes you seriously. I think especially in the market that we're in the holster space. I mean, there's thousands of guys trying to get in there and trying to make it. Now that we have a booth, the same guys last year that just kind of brushed us off are coming to us. And so that's really good. I would say for anybody who's trying to get in, I would say keep at it. I mean, from that regard, I think it's really nice. The traffic down where we were, I thought being down in the first floor, I agree. I think it's it's a little bit different. I think upstairs it's more eye candy. And it's, it's real, it's guys that are just cutting their, their annual, deals for, for the weapons and whatnot. But downstairs you get, that's where the scrappier entrepreneurs are, the hustlers that are trying to make it. And so we thought we didn't know what our spot was going to be like. And we got real decent foot traffic. A lot of people kind of hunting and looking to see, what's new, what's up and coming. So it was pretty solid. Did see the taper off the last couple of days for sure. We felt it, and I think we had a little app to scan people's badges. I mean, we saw it in the stats just really tapered off. So, man, and as far as planning and going in, I mean, you get I like anything in this world, man. You get out what you put in, and so we wanted to make sure that we had a solid presence. We had a professional looking booth. We know I've done trade shows myself personally, so I understand what people are looking for. So we needed to make sure that we had all our brand collateral and all the the tchotchke stuff that people kind of expect, and also the catalogs and your pricing and your and samples and I mean all these things that go into it. It's a lot of work, and like you said, shipping the stuff we talked beforehand about about these companies holding you hostage. It's expensive. Don't get it twisted. I mean, it's very expensive to do it right. The vendors that sell you stuff, it's it's like, really? I mean, they want to rent you a wastebasket for a day, right? You're like, what is this? $200 for a 15 amp power drop for 4 days. You're like, it's highway robbery. But at the end of the day, where else are you going to get it from, right? It's the $15 hot dog at the stadium.
I got you at that point, don't they?
Yeah, but at that point, at the end of the day, you really, if you spend a couple $100 more here and there, it's really, it shouldn't break your budget, So
without going too far in detail, I mean, from a manufacturer and a vendor side, how much of does this eat up a lot of your kind of yearly advertising marketing budget, or do you guys you kind of know what it's going to cost and you kind of have to just set that aside knowing that it's going to cost you X amount of dollars for the week in Vegas? Because, I'm sure there's some of these companies that are just kind of startup companies that they may be in over their head at the end of the week. And especially if they don't make any sales, I can only imagine. But, do you guys set aside this money, or do you have it built into that yearly budget already? Or is this a separate a budgetary expense?
Yeah, I mean, so we planned for it. We got in probably midway through the year, so that's when we decided, okay, let's start putting aside some cash for it. It can get very expensive. We at the end of the day, though, I mean, we're an ROI driven company, so we spend money where we see the value. Where we're going to get that back, and so we, as our executive team, we sat on and we said, this is probably a good use of our cash, and it's a direction that we wanted to take the company. And I mean, if we were just going there and hoping, crossing our fingers that we're going to get some sales, I would do it. We had already validated some ideas. We knew that, we had something that people wanted. Right. We just need to get it out in front of them. So, smaller guys, I mean, it's pricey, man. I wouldn't just go just for the sake of going. You have to go with a plan for sure. So.
Well, I've got a question from one of the viewers out there in the chat, and if you don't want to answer it, that I have absolutely no problem. You just saying I'd rather not discuss that. But I have a question out there. This is wanted to know, how much do one of the booths cost there?
10 by 10 cost us about $4,000 just for the booth.
Just for the booth.
Just for the space.
Does that include electricity if you use that, or is that an additional cost, or what?
Man, it includes absolutely nothing.
Everything's an add-on.
Yeah, it includes a curtain behind you and a little partition between the guy next to you. It doesn't include floor. I mean, it includes the bare concrete floor.
Yeah, it doesn't include the air. They charge for the air above the 10 by 10.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of air down there.
If meat or stink, they charge you that one too.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, everything from shipping the product in. Like we delivered a lot of the stuff ourselves, and even that, it's so many hurdles you have to jump through. Pre-delivery of stuff. They hold it, they stage it, they deliver it to your booth, they charge you a fortune. The carpet, we decided to buy our own flooring because it cost me the same to buy my own as it would be to rent.
And you can take it with you and have it every year.
Take it with you for the next one, right? So I mean, it's just like, man, I'm telling you, garbage cans. They literally charge you for a garbage can.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Well, let's hope that it all works out this year and you get a bunch of sales, because I really like your stuff. I love the tuck holster, and I'll let you talk about your products here in a little bit. But that I love the tuck holster. So that was pretty awesome. But let's kind of talk a little bit to Tack Daddy. Tack, you were there with several different hats. So discuss your time this year. I know you were crazy busy, but how was it this year in comparison to previous years? I know, like I said, you had a lot more hats this year, but was it a little stressful, or was it just more busy, or how was it?
It was awesome. I'd lie to you if I tell you otherwise. It was awesome. And again, running into you guys was great. I know it was brief, and it's funny. You don't even remember. I don't even remember posing for a picture with Clover until he posts it, and I'm like, oh, that's right. It was on Rage Day. That's right. I remember that, top of the hill conversation that we were having. But, as it goes through, so many faces, so many interactions, so many introductions of people to other people, and then, yourself, it's just mind-boggling. So I think one of the Attack 365s that I did that was most appropriate was that one about high receive. And again, our friend that's joining, that's the guys that are here that were there professionally to cover it, and the vendor and everybody can appreciate this concept of high receive. You don't go there and then, show up first morning, no coffee, no breakfast. You didn't really have your shit together. You go there and your job is everything points to this week. So when you hit the floor, it's like ding. When you get off the elevator, boom. When you go down that first ramp and you get in amongst the mass of everybody walking where they're going, or if you're at a booth and, the door's open, you're on high receive. It's a lot of energy. It's a lot of life energy and emotional energy to put in a solid conversation with everyone that comes up to you all day long, that wants to speak with you and communicate with you and talk about this, that, or the other. Or again, you going booth to booth, or someone at a booth with everyone coming up and all the different things they want to talk about, whether it's coming on a live show next week or a new account or the possibility of some custom deal. I'm sure he had all of that stuff thrown at him. And again, if you're not on high receive, you lose. You're just who wants to talk to someone that's not paying attention? It's just basically that's the simplest concept, the way to break it down.
Yeah.
So when you add up day after day of that with less sleep than normal, not a regular eating routine, if that happens to you, and et cetera, et cetera. So I was very focused on making sure that I stayed as true to I could with meals and rest, and staying on site, as there was an extra cost associated with those hotels that are right there. But God, I can't tell you how worth it was to be able to just say at 3:00, you know what? I don't have anything until 5, and I'm going to be going all night to this thing and that meeting. Let me just go back to my room. Let me just go back to my room and wash my face off.
Yeah.
Priceless.
Well, I know also, you and I talked a lot before shot, but I know that there were times that you were on an exercise bike or a real bike or running or walking. You were getting a lot of, cardio in and trying to get enough hydration. You were going a month out of SHOT Show. You were exercising, getting ready for it.
I actually, again, usually right around New Year's is when I really turn it on, but actually Christmas, because I've gone there sick once before, and I know people that, again, they accuse you of bringing the crud and all that stuff. I've been on a plane going to SHOT knowing that I had to go, and staying in my hotel room for 2 days to making sure I was absolutely awesome before I went out and hit the floor. But so yeah, it's a great event. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun. Did a lot of filming. Did a lot of directing stuff for the first time. That was kind of cool. Production stuff. A lot of meetings and a lot of just getting things going in a certain direction for the year coming with the whole team and the Funker team, the Aperture team. Again, some news about Instructor Zero coming public pretty soon. But yeah, there's just a lot of balls in the air, and a couple of them, got thrown at me out of nowhere. So you can go there with the best plan in the world, and it is true. The guy that I was supposed to meet, that was like the #1 meeting on my list, it just got pushed. Got pushed by both of us twice, and next thing you know, we just couldn't make it happen. So it's got to happen on the phone now, and it will. But man,
yeah. Well, I think you had, in our conversations, without getting too detailed, I think you had a pretty successful week. So, like I said, I want to say thank you to you, because you were, you and G and Pink and a lot of these guys were so helpful for Clover and I, who were first-time SHOT Show guys. So just kind of telling us how to maybe prepare and plan and strategize was very was great. So thank you for all of that.
At the same time, I'm sure you'll agree that you just don't know till you're there.
No, you don't.
It's kind of massive.
You can go there with all the plans and strategies you want, but JJ and I were talking pre-show, and you can go there with the best strategies in the world, but you better be able to adapt and just understand that things are going to happen. And if you're not able to do that, then just don't go to SHOT, because it's probably not going to be a good experience for you. And speaking of which, JJ and Jeff are here. Being with Gear Report, you guys have been here doing this for a while. And talk to me about some of the manufacturers that maybe you guys were targeting this year to maybe you haven't worked with, or were a lot of the manufacturers seeking you guys out, or how is that dynamic for you guys this year in comparison to previous years?
It was a little bit of both.
Well, I did the first run around.
In prior years, thank you. Yeah, so in prior years, see, we worked together well. In prior years, we went with the let's hit every booth we can with a video camera, capture some video. It was running wide open all day, shooting videos, staying up till 3 or 4 in the morning, editing video. Yeah. And honestly, this year, flying there, we were still thinking of doing a bit of that. We were still juggling, how are we going to pull this off? I had one of the guys on our team blew out his knee and canceled just a couple days before the trip. So it really changed the dynamic within the Gear Report team. So we just kind of said, you know what? We're barely going to shoot video at all. All the money on the new camera and the audio recorder and all that stuff, I'm sure it was well spent, but we barely used it. We shot a little video at Range Day, at the Antares Range event, at the ATAC Range Day. But really, we shot one video with good audio in a booth, and then we shot 1 or 2 more real quick ones, just kind of on the spur of the moment, and that was it. So it was a very big change, and what that did for us, it let us see a lot more brands. So we had roughly twice as many meetings as we had before, and we really targeted some different types of companies from before. So we talked to a lot of ammo companies because, if you're doing gun reviews, you burn through a lot of ammo. It's really nice to have, it's really nice to have some brands there to support you. So we spent some time on those. And then we were actively searching, like you said, down on the bottom floor for those new, I like how Pablo described scrappy brands. And he's one of them that we found. So Pablo and I are working together on some marketing things that are going to be big and help everyone on this call out, I think, in the coming weeks. So, JJ, what do you think?
Yeah, I definitely second on that. We met with an incredible lot more brands that we had not worked before, and it also not committing to so many videos or trying to do as many video reviews or booth videos that we did on the past years did help with the outreach with new brands. Of course, we always went and say hello and continue the communication with brands that have provided products in the past. And so that gave us the flexibility that we needed. And we were able to better use our time doing that. As of brands that we pursued, I coordinated 22 long rifle project for the website. And I don't know if you guys have heard or seen lately, there's been a resurgency on the 22 long rifle, not only on the ammunition that you can find it now, but there is a big push in a lot of the shooting competitions. They have the rimfire shooting competitions, the rimfire challenges, now they're doing the long range shoot that they used to do, out to 1,000 yards with the different tactical hurdles or points of shooting. They've actually blended down to a 22 long rifle where you're shooting out to maybe 150 or 200 yards, and there's a huge following of the 22 long rifle. So my big outreach this year was trying to talk to the most known or renowned manufacturers of the 22. One of them being Bo Quartzen, another one that I've followed for quite a while. Anschutz, the German manufacturer of the Olympic rifles. And then, you know, there's a couple of newer companies that are coming into the market of the U.S., like Lithgow from Australia. Also, brands like Ruger itself. You know, they're making their brand new rimfire precision rifle, patterned a little bit from the you know, the centerfire precision rifle that they came out with recently, but you know, geared for all of these new competitions that are starting to emerge.
Awesome. You know, it's one of those things where I think it's interesting, the concept that you guys made that conscious decision of trying not to do all the video, establish the relationships, get the talking points. You can do the video in a later time with the reviews that you actually are going to be doing. But, you know, that's something that I think that once you've been there long enough, at this point, the video, and for me, it was all about the video and the content. This was my first time, so I wanted to get as much content as I could. But like I said, I think it's fascinating that you guys are saying, you know, the video stuff, it can come in that later date. We're going to get the contacts and take some pictures or whatever, but really focus on the relationship side of things, because I guess if you get the relationships, then the videos can come later. So that's a really awesome point you have there. G, you've been going there forever. How was your SHOT Show this year, and how was it in comparison to previous years? And did you happen to notice also? A lot of people said that it was a smaller crowd, maybe not a small crowd, but it wasn't as crazy busy and able to get around quicker. But how was your SHOT experience this year?
Yeah, I'd say it was pretty medium as far as crowd size and like congestion, I guess would be the word. But it's definitely it was upbeat. So the whatever, you know, the feeling was good. It wasn't down, probably because of the economy, not because people are not optimistic. So I thought it seemed like a lot of business was being done, and it seems like it was a good year for everybody, like advertiser, you know, people doing videos and stuff. I think it looked like everybody was real receptive to that. Everybody's real familiar with it now. And there's, you know, the big guys came and went. So you don't have big giant film crews, or very many big film crews. So it seems like it was a real good opportunity for you guys. You all seemed like you had a good run. You know, you didn't go there and it wasn't futile for you. You didn't have a bunch of people turn you away or anything. Like, you got to run your cameras. You made your contacts. There's been years when it's just so busy that they wouldn't have time for everybody, you know, so people would be left empty-handed. I don't think it was that kind of year. So I think for all those, it was a pretty decent year. But yeah. And then weather-wise, it was great too. Sometimes it's been real cold or hot or stormy or whatever, and it just makes it miserable. Except for, you know, having so many people from all over the world, you know, 65,000 people from all over the world in a dungeon. So I really sick. You know, there was no, like, you know, nature influence on that. It was pretty comfortable and easy for everybody to get around. Vegas was pretty amenable with all that potential issue with, you know, earlier in the year. None of that came through. The only thing I think is, the one thing that's getting frustrating to me is the stupid Dungeon Sands never puts up a big thing out front anymore. On the front building that used to have a big banner. Somebody used to spend money and make a really cool SHOT banner out front. People knew it was SHOT Show, and it was, you know, hey, we're in town, we're guns. And I don't know if it's just cost or why, but they haven't done that in years now. I'm just kind of hoping to see that already.
Yeah. Let's see here. Now, Philo has a question for you, G. And like I said, this is my first one, but he said he wants to hear about activism at the show. I didn't see a whole lot of activism. Now, there were some meetings. You know, there were some women with guns, and there was a state of the industry and all of that. I didn't go to any of that stuff, but, you know, in years past, and this is not just for G-Webs, this is for anyone on the panel that has been there for a while, is activism and the Second Amendment activism stuff, especially with the ATF questionnaire kind of shutting down the Thursday of SHOT Show. But is there typically activism, or because I didn't see a whole lot? Just, you know, NRA had a booth and Second Amendment Foundation had a booth, but is that kind of what SHOT Show is? Is that a sect of SHOT Show, or is it more just industry and let's not worry about the politics for a week?
The NRA is always that booth that they were wearing this time. And Second Amendment Foundation is always in the back over there by Rock Island.
Rock
Right?
Island, yeah.
And then I don't know where Gunners America is heading, if they're even there. And
they weren't there.
I don't think they are over there. Or if they are, they're hidden somewhere downstairs. But they don't have a big booth. But you know, that next area, that stuff right in front of the media room in that hallway, that used to be the nonprofits. So I don't know where they stuck the nonprofits. I couldn't find them. But they're, you know how big that hallway is by the media room?
Oh yeah.
That's how many nonprofits are at SHOT. So they only devote.
Okay, so all those booths that were there for Next, those are all all of those are nonprofits.
No. It's way more crowded with Next. So imagine if there was nothing in the hallway, but there was just booths along the wall down that hallway. So what would that be? 20 booths? That's how many nonprofits are normally there. So they hit them somewhere, and I don't know where. I couldn't find them, and I usually look for them. Like Adopt a Sniper is one I like to buy a patch every year. $20 donation, get a patch. Sometimes get a challenge coin and throw it at somebody. There's the youth ones, 4-H, right? Those kind of. It's usually the hunting and shooting sports oriented nonprofits that show up. The activism, Second Amendment activism, doesn't bother to show up. It's an industry event. So that's one of the reasons that I kind of wanted to start doing the Second 2A Summit, is to actually bring a little bit of that presence, or at least give that presence a foothold there. But it's not really appropriate. It's not what NSSF is all about. And they're obviously super psyched about their stupid child safe garbage. So they won't shut up about that. And they give that all kinds of room. So they'd probably be, more interested in promoting stupid projects out child safe than any other Second Amendment advocacy. They certainly didn't say anything about the bump stock survey ending on Thursday. I didn't see anybody booth with like a whiteboard or anybody that produced anything to mention it. Very few posts, a lot of selfies, very few posts about it ending on the 25th though.
Right. Yeah. And I just, like I said, this has been my first one. I didn't know if the activism side was something that is kind of understood that, hey, this is the trade show, let's kind of keep the politics, or if it was just not prevalent this year. I don't know how it usually is. Danny, what's going on? How was your shot? How was yours this year in comparison? Oh, I'm sorry, G, what's going on?
Well, they give nonprofits room when they gave them a spot in that hallway. Like I said, I don't know where they put them, but imagine $5,000 for a booth. It's more like 20 grand to put anybody there. I'm surprised the Cody Museum is able to spend money to get there. So, a nonprofit who doesn't have any money, how are they going to afford to get people there?
Yeah. Yeah. Danny, how was SHOT for you? And in comparison to previous years, was it successful for you?
Oh, yeah. I think every year, I don't think I'm going to go back the next year, and then I get about a month down the road and I say, I got to go back next year. Just so many new things to see. You find new vendors and new products that are coming out. It's great for a retail store. I always one of the things I like the most is to be able to put a face with a voice. A lot of people I talk to on the phone, and just being able to see them and everything kind of makes that personal connection, and that's a big deal for me.
Yeah, and that's something that, I spent a lot of time taking a lot of video, but the rest of the time was trying to talk and create some conversation with a lot of these people that I think that have really good concepts and product, and kind of just forge a relationship. And for someone like you guys and most of you guys in here that have had relationships with a lot of these companies, there's probably a lot of companies out there that you've talked to on the phone or through email, but putting that face to the voice or to the email or to the name takes that relationship to the next level, because now you're able to look them in the eye and laugh and joke and actually have a conversation. So this is for everybody in the panel. How much of this SHOT Show week is more about the relationships versus the content or the product? Obviously for Pablo, it's about product and relationship because he's doing that. But, for Sean and for JJ and for Jeff, how much of it is the relationship that might forge a partnership later down the road? You're kind of setting up that relationship just by meeting them in person and talking. Is that, JJ and Jeff said that's kind of what you guys try to do this year, was maybe not take as much footage, but to work on those relationships. But Sean and on all you guys, I would imagine that the relationship side of SHOT Show has got to be probably the most important key for the media, because without access to these products, then there's really no reason why we're there. So I'll start with Sean. I'll get back to you, Clover, here in just a second. But Sean, I know that JJ and Jeff already said they kind of did a lot of relationship stuff. Were you more focused on content this year, or did you, was it 50-50, or, what was your outlook on relationship building versus product reviews?
We started out like the first day just trying to do nothing but content. That night when we got back, we just talked about it, and then basically kind of just, we brought the equipment but didn't use it, and we just wanted to see what was out there and meet new people and just talk to different contacts.
So you kind of split it up by day almost. I mean, if that's the best way to explain it.
Yeah, well, we started out with the intent to do nothing but content, and then it just, after the first day, it just stopped, and we just enjoy the show and meet people and make contacts versus trying to have to stress out over to whether or not to get a video done or not, or where to do it. And
right.
It ended up working out for us. We met a lot of new people, and it worked out pretty good. So we had a good time.
That's awesome. Pablo, for you, from the vendor side of things, obviously anyone that walks up to your booth is a potential customer. That being said, from the media side of things, when someone from the media walked up, was that something that you guys looked upon as saying, hey, this is an opportunity maybe to get our product and message out to more people? Or were you more focused on trying on the business side to talk as many vendors as you could? And it's okay to, obviously speak the truth, because we're all here. You're not going to offend anybody here, because from the manufacturer and the vendor side, I'm really interested to hear, obviously you're there to try to sell your product, but how much of talking to the media do you think is going to maybe help your reach to new customers maybe?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. And, for me, personally, I mean, we need to have a good product, obviously, to survive. But every business, doesn't matter if you're in the media, doesn't matter if if you're on my end, we do business. We don't do business with companies. We do business with other people. And so I really think it's extremely valuable to engage everybody. Obviously we want to sign more vendors, but I would say that you guys are extremely valuable to us, because you give us exposure. And the media really is what gets it out there. We can do a great job of trying to get our product out there, and we feel like we do a great job, but we talk to a lot of people that never heard of us before. And so it's important for us to make sure that we're engaging everybody and exploring those relationships, and making sure that we're giving ourselves the best chance of getting our our product at the end of the day out in front of all those people via you guys. So it's relationships, man. It's all relationships.
It is. And I noticed, well, Jeff's got a point he's bringing up in the side chat. You want to go ahead and bring that up, Jeff? Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So, and I'd love to hear Pablo's feedback on this from the other side, but we work with some pretty big brands that they tell us they get, some of them, 50, 100 emails a day from different people saying, hey, I'm a reviewer, I need product. Send me something for free. And I hate the word free when we talk about that, because we work so hard. Nothing could be further from the truth. It'd be cheaper to go buy it. But anyhow, it gives you some legitimacy. I think there's an investment. You got to get a flight and a hotel and take time away from your day job, assuming you're not a big established personality, Right. So to be there and walk up, I mean, there is a natural selection at work here where, there is some implied legitimacy just by the virtue of the fact that you made it through the NSSF screening. And they gave you a press pass. So I think that's valuable and important for us to build our brands. Is, you got to be there. You got to show your face. And when you walk up and stand in front of them and you look nice and you present yourself well, I say look nice, meaning, you're not in a t-shirt with holes and flip-flops, at least not on the first day, maybe by the end of the week. But anyhow, that's kind of where I was coming from there.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
Yeah, I think
we don't
one
get
of the things
we don't-
that
Go ahead, Jose. Go ahead.
so one of the things that is a big tell from this show. We've been talking to a couple of manufacturers, a couple of companies about reviewing some of the products, and this is friendships or relationships that we've been building since 3-4 years ago. And it wasn't until this year that we got one of them to kind of tell us that the reason why we haven't received product from them before was that we were still young in the industry, and we've been established since 2009. Now we've been getting into the gun and the shooting aspect of the reviews the past 4 or 5 years. But after 3 years of communications and everything, it's not until now that we pretty much got a friendlier hint that we were going to truly establish a setup. Getting a couple of items to finally review. So it comes to say the longevity and the legitimacy of being to those shows, the exposure and the friendships or the relationships that you're building, that actually does get you access to those newer brands in the end, in the long run.
All right, what were you going to say in rebuttal? Someone was talking earlier when JJ was talking.
That was Pablo. So yeah, I mean, just to, I mean, he nailed it. I think it's legitimacy. It's easy for somebody like us. People hit us up all the time. We don't get 50 a day, but we do get enough that it's like, man, how do you vet all these requests? And
Right.
our product price point, it's not that big of a deal for me to send something out to somebody. But you start getting into larger ticket items, and that legitimacy really does come into play. And as we grow, the requests go up, and it really, like, I can't send something to everybody. So yeah, I mean, that's huge, man. It really is.
Well, there is a lot of people out here that are like myself and Clover. We're first timers this year, but there's a possibility of just some people that are viewers and are starting to turn the camera on, become creators themselves, that are interested in going to SHOT next year, which I think is great. But Pablo, this is directed towards you, and this is just in generalities. If you're at SHOT Show and you have a content creator coming up to the booth, and they're asking for T&E product to take home or whatever, or get with you later and all that, like you said, it's hard to vet, but do you at what point do you just have to sit there and say, I can't, like you said, I can't give everybody what they want? And I know that kind of is hard because you do want to get your message out, but is there people, or do you get a vibe from some people that you kind of feel maybe in it for the product versus for the content and all that? I mean, how do you look at those meaning at SHOT? Because like you said, if you're at SHOT, you're at least making the effort to be there. But there are still probably people there that are just looking strictly for product and all that. Do you see that quite frequently?
Yeah, we do. We see it. I mean, we see it even, on a day-to-day. I think it's, you start to get a good feel for people that are just looking for free shit, versus people that are really passionate about what they do and are professional. And you just gotta, everybody's a psychologist to a certain extent. So you gotta be able to read people right away and get a feel for it and go with your gut, and and that's it. I mean, it's in the beginning, I think we were, we wanted distribution, right? That's really at the end of the day what we're looking for. We're trying to get a maximum exposure. And so if somebody comes to me and I have the time to look and see, and they have a handful of followers, I mean, it's like, well, what good is that going to do? Now, that being said, doesn't mean I'll say no if it's somebody who comes to me, and I could see their passion, and I could tell they're really making an effort, but they're just getting started. Sure. You know what I mean? I'm not going to turn them away. But I'm sure it's different for, like I said, if there's a bigger ticket item or something, I mean, you got to be more selective. For us, it's not that big of a deal to send out a product or to give somebody something. But if I get if somebody comes to me and is like, they just want something for free, it's like, nah.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's that thing. G says he's got something. Go ahead, G.
Well, it's an opportunity for people who are either manufacturers, distributors, or whatever to help content creators and influencers to prosper. So it can be a mutual benefit to when you see somebody and you get clicks or whatever, gambling, I guess, on that person. And I guess someone credit or whatever, some established time on the clock or whatever is some indication. But I know some of you guys who've been doing this for a while started somewhere and people kind of bet on you and your relationships with them helped you become long-term. So to some extent, I would say it's an opportunity for the manufacturers to gamble, get an opportunity to meet people on the way up. You don't get to meet a Hickok, he doesn't just wander along and have an interest in working with everybody.
That's something that we discussed a lot, prior to going to SHOT. And honestly, that's kind of why I really enjoyed. And Pablo, I don't know what you guys call the term, but a lot of us call in the gun channel side, we were calling the first floor the dungeon because it kind of had that feel of the dungeon. But I really enjoyed spending the vast majority of my time in the dungeon on level 1. Because, like you said, they were the grinders. They were the ones that are trying to make their mark on the industry. And to a certain extent, I wasn't the exact same, but this is my first time. I'm a young channel. I just started 6-7 months ago, and I'm trying to make my mark. And seeing someone that is on the vendor side, the manufacturing side of things, is kind of in the same boat. That was fun for me because you're talking about meeting people that have the same kind of passion because they've got the gleam in their eye and they've got that hope and dream of kicking it hard. But I enjoy being down there because this is just me. I'm gonna get Clover here in just 1 second, and I think he's gonna have some really cool stuff to talk about because it was his first year too. But I enjoy the product a lot more on the level 1 because it is more of the innovative stuff. The big guns have been there, done that. They aren't necessarily as innovative as they probably should or could be. But the guys that are on that first level, you start seeing some really, really cool product because I think that's where you guys were trying to make your mark and you're trying to get seen and do something different than the big dogs in the industry. And did you see that talking with other vendors down there on that first level, Pablo? Did you kind of notice that they all kind of had the same mentality of it's us against the world and we're just going to go down kicking and screaming?
Absolutely, man. I mean, that is the vibe down there, and it's fun. You know what I mean? I'll take it, call it the dungeon, call it whatever the hell you want. I mean, it's another chip on our shoulder, because we're trying to make it, right? All the guys on the second floor, as you alluded to, those guys are established. They've made it. They don't have to innovate. They've got tons of market. They're just hanging on to market share, and they're mature companies. We're growth companies. We gotta grow or we die. So that's it.
And I loved it down there. Like I said, the vibe down there was so much different than it was on the second level. And I don't know if that's like that every year. I don't know. This is my first experience, but I enjoyed the vibe a lot better on that first level because it was, like you said, it was everyone getting down and everyone's closer together. And, you're in your booth, but you can hear conversations from 2 or 3 booths down because y'all are so tight. But I enjoyed that vibe for me personally. Now I want to bring in Clover, and I know I'm so sorry. It's been almost an hour and you haven't said a damn word. But we're going to continue this chat. We're going to go. I'm sorry, nice check, but I love where this chat is right now. So we're going to keep going. Guys on the panel, if you guys have to cut out, hey, I completely understand. Just cut out whatever you need to. But I'm going to let Clover get in here because it was his first year also. And talk to me about what your expectations were. And when you left and got on that plane going home, you sit there and said, that's exactly what I thought it was, or that's nothing like I thought it was, or tell me how your week went. I know a lot of it because we shared a hotel room, but tell the viewers and all that how your week went.
Well, the first thing that I want to say,
I feel like Clover is dominating this chat. Come on,
I have to mute him. I've had to mute him for an hour now.
Here comes the list. Everybody get ready.
Marching down the Lucky Charms, man. Come on, get him.
No respect. Now, first of all, I'm going to start by saying there's several on this panel from G to TAC to Jeff with your reports that were instrumental early on in setting things in motion for me from an informational perspective, a motivational perspective, an inspirational perspective. I can remember G in a chat prior to shot talking about being fluid, and you absolutely, he was 100% correct. You have to be fluid. Tack and talking about, you know, just getting in there and hustling, and you have to. There's no way to navigate it. There's way too much to do and not enough time. And then, you know, Jeff and them, and just, you know, I don't know. I mean, we've been treated well by Gear Reports and the guys there. I mean, we've been treated like we have, you know, 20, 30,000, 100,000 subs, and obviously we don't have that. So that tends to pump up our head a little bit, you know, which is good as long as it doesn't get too big. That said, I went in with a plan, and I left a little bit disappointed because the plan didn't go like I wanted it to. That said, it wasn't bad. It was just a little disappointing. Some of the guys out there, when I got back, there was a lot of questions, obviously, on the Reformation and on the SIG 365 and that sort of stuff. And I really didn't cover that. And I didn't do that. There was a reason that I didn't do that. I got there and I figured out, crap, I don't have time. Really, if I stand in line at range day, and Ghost knows this because, you know, we pretty much teamed up on range day. If I stand in line on range day to check out that 365 or the stupid Reformation, then that's time I'm pulling away from boosts down here. I could get 2 other boosts in that time frame. I could give those people coverage. And with the long lines in the 365 and the Hudson and the Reformation and that sort of stuff, obviously there's going to be all types of content that's coming out for that. So, you know, just my one extra little video, I mean, is it really required? Is it really necessary? So that's kind of how I approached range day. Now, going into shot on Tuesday, my plan was to I've worked with, I don't know, half a dozen to 10 different companies, most of which have, like we were talking before, I'd never met face to face. So my plan was, and most all of those are smaller companies. They were down in the dungeon. My plan was to work that dungeon, get some content from their booth, show them a little more love, that sort of thing. Face to face, meet each other, those deals. And a couple of those I haven't really worked with them a lot recently. So that was a good thing to do because that kind of rekindled that romance, if you will. What I learned in the dungeon was that those guys down there, for the most part, were kind of like Ghost and I. They were there. They just wanted to hustle, you know, and they were willing to pay attention, to work with you. You know, I had nobody turn me away in the dungeon, and that was a good thing because my day 2 plan, there was actually some companies that I had worked with before too that were on that second floor. But I wanted to spend day 2 not only kind of shoring up those contacts, but then going after that brass ring, you know, checking out and getting some content. I had people that wanted, you know, they wanted some video from the CZ booth. They wanted some video from the HK booth, from that sort of thing. And what I found out was I went into day 2. Day 1 was range day was so awesome, and then we built on it. And, you know, with the vendors and the dealers talking to you, and I mean, and treating you like you're somebody important. And then day 2 in the dungeon was the same way. It just built upon that. It built that confidence level. It built everything up to where you're thinking, man, you know, this is awesome. You know, I'm actually getting response from what I'm doing. This is cool. And that was vital, I think, going into the second day of shot where I was working that second floor. I wasn't nervous one bit walking up to CZ or HK or walking into Lyman or any of those that I visited. And I was received just as well by those big dogs as I was down in the dungeon. And it amazed me. And, you know, I don't know if it's because, you know, most of those companies were just open-minded. Now, I did go into the second floor. Usually I would ask for a media rep, you know, when I went into there. And when I did, we could talk geek a little bit. Nobody really ever harped on or asked me about sub counts or my reach or anything like that. But we talked about the dynamics of social media and how to work and how to promote the products and how to get all of that stuff out. Right. So yeah, it was definitely an experience. Another aspect of mine that I worked on that was that was interesting was, getting to meet just some of the other creators out there. And being able to say, hey, I met those, talked with those, even if it wasn't for, just 3 or 4 minutes, 5 minutes or something, that way you can say, hey, that person is real. That person is who they show to be when they're on that camera, when they're on that chat. Because I think that's important. I think that people lose aspect, and there was quote unquote creators there that are really not creators. They were there as celebrity, or they weren't they weren't influencers. You know what I mean? They weren't hustlers. They weren't doing the content. They were channels that were big channels, and they came as basically they were online celebrities. Is how they came into that, and that's something that I wanted to distinguish between the guys that are.
I feel like I come there for you people though. So.
But G, you are a celebrity. You're not trying to be a celebrity. You actually are. So it's a little different.
I still have no proof of life of G. 5 years.
He has the most famous hands in all of the gun industry. He's got the most famous hands ever. We don't know what he looks like. He's got great hands.
G doesn't like to admit it, but Ghost and I have seen his fanboys firsthand. So I mean,
we have people actually freak out.
Yeah, G has a very freakish following. You gotta watch that. But yeah, on the on the plane home while I was there, obviously, the viewers out there, man. The viewers are everything.
Yeah.
We do this to bring people into the community, and the people in the community are the people out there watching. I tried to do a live stream in the morning and then a live stream in the evening. And I know that pulled away some from the content that I could get it shot, but I felt that was important to be out there and to talk to the viewers and have that engagement and that feedback while I was there at shot. In the morning before I hit the floor, and in the evening when I get back. Hey, here's my plan. Here's what I want to do. And then they could give me some feedback and some ideas. I go out and hit the floor. I come back. I say, man, I'm tired. I'm wore out. Here's what I did. And then they kind of wind me down for the day, more or less. So that really kept me grounded in, why I was out there and doing what I was doing.
Right.
And then on the way home, yeah, it starts to hit you that, what you've done and what you've been through, and you start wargaming next year. How do okay. Like I said, I had these things in the back of my mind. I was disappointed. I didn't do this. I was focused on the negative, and I had to try to shake that and then try to think, okay, how do I accomplish that next year?
You did get accomplished,
Right. Focus on what I did get accomplished, and then use those disappointments to in a positive way to war game next year. What can I do differently next year? How can I schedule my time? What can I do to have less of those, disappointments, coming back? But I mean, overall, it was an excellent experience. I know there was some people out in the chat that were talking about if they went their first time, they would just go through there and just kind of absorb it and take it all in and all that kind of stuff. And, I'm not that way. My first time, I mean, I turned the camera on as much as I could possibly turn the camera on. I snapped pictures as much as I could possibly snap pictures between Instagram and the live feed. Tried to get out there and get on social media as much as possible while I was in Vegas, because ultimately that's just what I do. I mean, I'm an influencer. I'm a creator. That's my game. So, I tried to stick to that as much as possible.
Yeah, for me, it was a phenomenal week. I loved every second of it. Yes. Was it tiring? Yes. Was it overwhelming? At times. For me, it all started on range day and all of that, to where I went into range day expecting something just wild and nuts and crazy. And it really wasn't. There were a couple booths that we might not have been able to get into because we didn't really want to wait in the line. But we were able to get into a lot of booths, get some really good footage on some really cool. It's a great people. Yeah. Hey, thanks, Trollmaster General. What's going on, man? We got some really awesome people tonight. But yeah, you were able to get into a lot of stuff in there. But I think what that did was kind of calm me down, because I think I went into SHOT thinking this craziness worst, and not being crazy on range day Monday kind of settled me down a little bit and said, okay, this isn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. So maybe tomorrow isn't going to be nearly as bad as I thought it was. And it really wasn't. Maybe that was just my mind kind of working strange ways, but I really enjoyed. I did have some pre-booked appointments that I had to get to first thing Tuesday morning, which kind of was great, because instead of just showing up on the first day and saying, what do I do? Where do I go first? I knew exactly where I had to go first, because I had an interview right at like 9 or something. So that kind of got me going. Instead of just walking around like a lost puppy, I had a set appointment. And so it actually worked out well for me. And then I was able to get downstairs, and it really had some great fun. But we were able to start some conversation and relationships on range day. I kind of focused on some of the smaller companies, or companies that didn't have very long lines, which was great, because not only did we maybe get to shoot a little bit more, but we were able to talk for 5, 10, 15 minutes with some of these companies that didn't have long lines, which was great. For whatever reason, they didn't have long lines. I didn't care, because it gave me time. And then you'd follow up the next few days with those manufacturers, say, hey, what's going on, Frank? We talked for a while over at Range Day yesterday. And for the relationship side was great, because you're talking with people that's products that you've used for a long time, or you like their products, or you've never heard of their products before, and you like them immediately. And now you're starting this conversation and a relationship with these manufacturers and product companies. That was really cool for me, because being the first time there, I didn't know. Like Clover said, not one time did any manufacturer ever ask me what your reach is, what's your sub count. Not all of us all are Yankee or G-Webs or, Demolition or, Eric or Tim. We're not these guys, but we went in, at least I did. I went in there knowing that I was worth something. I had the confidence to go in there, knowledgeable enough to at least talk with them. So I think that helped me. For all you guys that are thinking about going next year, if you go there with the mentality of I'm a small channel, I'm just starting out, no one knows who I am, is it really worth it? The answer is yes, it is worth it. Even if you don't walk away with relationships, you're going to be able to get all the content you want. If you're not able to get interviews or conversations, you can still get pictures and video of content, and that's going to help your channel grow. But I think the biggest thing is don't be afraid. If you're at a booth that doesn't have a lot of people up there, don't be afraid to stop and say, hey, you mind if I get some video or pictures? They say yes. After you get that done, sit there and talk to them for a little while, because you never know. They might be from the same part of the country. You never know. Or there's all sorts of stuff. So if you're thinking about going for the first time, absolutely, it is worth it. So don't ever say that you're too small to go to SHOT Show. I didn't think there was any way that I was going to get approved. And I think Clover, to a certain extent, wasn't sure if he was going to be able to get approved, but we did. But I think that we have the quality of work that we believe in ourselves, and we're confident. And like I said, you walk up to H&K, you walk up to Glock, you walk up to CZ. If you walk up there nervous, they're going to smell that. You walk up there and say, hey, I belong here too. I may not be this guy, but I belong here too. That's going to be the biggest thing, is if you have confidence in yourself, then not only are they going to see that, but it's going to come through in your content as well. So,
Trey,
yeah, go for it, Tack.
I would also add that there's a gazillion companies, and many of them have no idea about any of the people you just named. Believe it or not, there are marketing, people in those companies that don't watch YouTube.
You're right.
Yeah, right.
All right, Clover, you said you got a question?
I do. Going into this, the only point of reference, really, I guess, that you and I had was Wanamaker, correct?
Wanamaker, yeah.
Did you find that, scale aside, because SHOT obviously it's a different type of setup, and it's size wise is much larger. That all of that aside, did you find it easier or harder than it was to produce content or do things at Wanamaker?
I actually found it easier.
Same for me. Same for me. That's why I was wondering.
Yeah, I'll say this: at gun shows, especially at Wanamaker, where it's the largest gun show, there were a lot of people that were very apprehensive with me taking video or pictures. And I think that's just natural at gun shows. A lot of people don't want to show off what they have because they're not manufacturers. They're John Smith and Mary Kay and Ashley trying to sell their stuff. Now, there are manufacturers there, but a lot of them they don't really want to get their stuff on camera. This was all about promoting product. So I thought it was a lot easier, at least getting content. That was just me. So, yeah, I think that Wanamaker was more difficult in getting quality content than Shot was. Shot was relatively easy for me. I always made sure that I asked the booths if it was okay. You never want to walk up and just start shooting pictures or film. You always want to ask if it's okay. You always have to be very kind of cognizant of who's around, because you don't want to just want to walk around all the hallways and the booths and just start filming individual people, because there are people that may not want or need to be in front of a camera. But as long as you're respectful of that, I had no problem whatsoever. I never actually got turned down from taking pictures or videos, so I was very lucky.
I got chewed out there for just a minute. I think I told Ghost this that night, but I don't think I've talked about it. But it was oh heck, that's horrible, because I don't even remember what company it was. Anyway, I was in a dungeon and I had went through, like I said, 3, 4, 5. I don't remember how many, but it was people that had companies that I had dealt with in the past. So I mean, it was a no brainer as far as could I film their stuff, right? I mean, I didn't ask, because I knew it was assumed okay. And so I walked by this guy, and like I said, I was looking at ammunition, reloading components, and some things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy it was ammunition. And so I'm filming, and he's like, "Hey man, what are you doing?" I'm like, filming. Is this okay? And he's like, "Who are you with?" And he was kind of gruff and rough with me. And then he proceeded to tell me, once he seen I was media and I talked to him, I said, yeah, okay, online content, all this other stuff. Then he was cool about it. And we had a conversation. He was talking about, yeah, he's probably going to be moving to Texas soon and all this other stuff. But, he told the story that, a guy in previous years come up and filmed some stuff. And then the following year, he had a booth there at SHOT Show as well, basically with the product he had copied from this guy. So,
I think that probably happened.
I mean, I see how they can be apprehensive if you just walk up and start filming.
Yeah, that's kind of why I always just made sure I said, "Hey, I'm here with Ghost Tactical Productions. Do you mind if I get?" And most of them were like, "Absolutely, go for it. You need any help? You got any questions?" And most of them, say, "Hey, I said, well, do you mind getting in front of the camera or whatever?" And they're like, "No, let's go for it." So. All right, so Danny, the next direction I want to go in is SHOT Show is over now. What do the next 3 to 6 to 9 months, look like for you, as far as what are you going to try to get done? I'm going to go run through with everybody here, but the next 3 to 6 to 9 months, what all do they look like to you and as far as your plans and getting ready for next year? Are you already thinking about next year? Or, what entails over the next 6 months or so?
Yeah, I think some of the new products that I set up orders for and are going to do, that's a biggie for us, especially the new companies. You called them down in the dungeons. That's where the innovation is. I agree with you. There's some new optics down there, and there's some good stuff. There's some new products for cleaning guns and working on guns, that kind of thing, that I'd never seen before. And those are going to be some things we really focus on. And I hope to be able to go back next year and say, hey, man, those products sold great for us. I will probably go back. I love the being in that culture. I like seeing all the new stuff and the people who are excited about it. And it's a great thing to be a part of SHOT Show.
Now, you came in a little bit late. I don't even know if actually, but this is Danny Snell with Full Mag Sports, and you guys actually got quite a few product out there, so you're not like a one-trick pony. For those of you that didn't know, you want to go ahead and kind of explain what you guys are and what the products you guys have?
Yeah, we're a retail storefront, and but we specialize in gunsmithing, and then of course new and used firearms as well. But we also try to service the entire shooting community, both in precision and people just having fun, all levels of shooters, and that's who we try to focus on. And so it's a great SHOT Show's a neat thing to show us, to bring back to our people here. We're a local shop. We don't do a lot online, and so we are a real face-to-face kind of company.
Yeah, and that's why I talked to Clover. I told him what I was going to try to do tonight, and he was like, "Oh, we got to get Danny on, because now we've got media, we've got manufacturer, and we have a retailer." And like I said, for the retailer, it's probably where I would imagine that you get a lot of your orders for the entire year done in 1 week, to where you don't have to worry about a lot of stuff. You can get a lot of stuff done in 1 week. Is that kind of the game plan that you have? Like I said, the next 6 months, are you looking for more?
Yeah, I think for us, we kind of know what's the big stuff out there that's selling, and we kind of do that along the way. But they run some pretty good specials for retailers there at the SHOT Show. So if you can tag on to some of those, you can save a little extra money, even if they trickle out sending it in, and that's a good thing for us too. So it's a great opportunity for somebody to see what people are talking about and actually put your hands on it.
You've actually heard about it, and actually, like you said, it's easier for you to talk to your customers now that you've seen it in person and had your hands on it, I guess, as well.
Yeah, and just an example is I signed on with a new optic company, and I had a customer in the store today, and I was just telling him about it, and I'm excited about it. And he said, "I want to look at it, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to order one from you." So those are the kinds of things that are good for us to be able to, if we really like it, we can push it because we've had our hands on it.
Right on. Jeff, JJ, the next few months, you guys, like you said, you didn't really focus on content at SHOT Show. You were more focused on the building relationships. So I'm assuming the next few months are going to be pretty hectic for you guys. Now that you've kind of forged some of those relationships and made them stronger, the ones that you already had, and got new ones, the reviews are probably going to start happening pretty crazy over the next few months, correct?
I don't know if really crazy, but one of the trends that we've seen for being involved in it for the past, 4 or 5 years is that a lot of the companies will do and showcase their new products at SHOT Show, but then they will not necessarily release any of this until it gets finalized and pushed through toward the consumer side during NRA show. That's pretty much the tipping point of companies releasing their products out now, because we've been in it for the for the 4 or 5 years. We have had the chance of getting some product earlier on, and that's kind of what we're hoping on doing this year. And I speak mainly on the 22 side. I'm hoping that I'm going to get my hands on 3 or anywhere between 3 to 5 new rifles this year that are pushing that tactical precision shooting on the 22 platform. So that's what I'm hoping for.
But your main focus and your project for this next year is the 22 long rifle platform, basically.
Yeah, it's been the same thing since last year, and since the time that I started the 22 long rifle project with the site. But last year, SHOT Show was pretty fruitful for me. I started pursuing products for a lightweight AR build. I believe December of 16. And then through SHOT Show and through last year, I was able to complete not just 1 rifle, but 2 rifles, which those articles are being upshooted right now on the site. And one's a conventional build and one's a carbon fiber build. And that one, it's even ongoing a little bit now. A company offered during SHOT Show a new product to be part of it to make it a little bit better on one of the builds. So that's some of the things that I'm hoping is going to be concrete in the next few months. How about you, Jeff? What do we have in hands?
Well, as the editor, I'm trying to manage a team of writers, and we've got a new camping specialist on board. We've got a couple different types of shooting writers doing different types of writing. Geez, we keep getting more and more military vehicle specialists doing Humvee upgrades and deuce and a halves and 5 tons and all kind of cool stuff. So I'm kind of trying to coordinate content from a bunch of different angles, and you'd be surprised. I mean, when we think of SHOT Show, I always thought guns and ammo, maybe.
Oh yeah,
And
the outdoor and hunting
kind of
side of it, yeah.
Oh my goodness, camouflage everything. There's anything you could ever want for hunting, all kinds of camping gear. It's crazy the breadth of products that you find at SHOT, and that's something we had not really branched out into before. But because we're kind of multi-channel and multi-topic at Gear Report, I was able to spend a little more time since we weren't shooting videos all the time. I could spread out and talk to different types of brands as well. So we're really looking to get some more content flowing in a couple different areas now. But like Jose once said, that it really and I posted something. We need to check back in 6 or 8 months and see where things are. Because I'm telling you, last year we left SHOT feeling on top of the world. And I don't want to burst anyone's bubble, but
Yeah, right.
stay on your follow-up and keep knocking it out of the park with everything you can to prove yourself, because stuff evaporates. People, one thing that I have learned is the marketing people that you talk to in the booths, it's like they all go to the same training class, and it is never say no to anyone in person. All right?
That's right.
Don't say no to their face when you can just ignore them in email for the next 6 months. So
No, you're right.
Stay on them. Keep your follow-up going. That's a lot of what I'm going to be doing, is following up to make sure this stuff happens, and get on that follow-up quick, because if you wait a week and a half before you reach out to them, well, now they've already talked to 20 people and they're too busy, and you go in the on hold pile.
Right.
So,
well, and it's interesting that, you guys are at gearreport.com are so much more than just guns. So like for me and Clover and G-Webs and TAC's probably going to be a little bit different this year with Funker. But for, me and Clover, let's say you've got SHOT Show, you've got NRA in May, and then you have Wanamaker in April and November. And those are kind of the 4 events that we have on our calendar every year. But you guys are being so much more than just firearm related. How many of these trade industry shows do you guys have to get to every year because of all the different aspects that the website covers?
Oh, you'd think it'd be a lot. And even in the firearms industry, you could just about make a full-time job out of going to trade shows.
Right.
But I mean, to be honest with you, I don't like to travel. When I was in the Air Force, we were flying all over the world all the time, and I've had about enough of that. So, and I was in pharmaceuticals for over a decade. They sent me to all kinds of stuff. Yeah. So I'm kind of sick of that. So, we go down to Eric and Chad's thing in Georgia in October. Sometimes we go to NRA, sometimes we don't. We go to SHOT Show. That's about it for right now. I mean, I've been asked about going to Outdoor Retailer and a couple other shows like that, but I don't have time for it. When am I going to write? When am I going to produce content if I'm spending every weekend at trade shows?
Outdoor Retailer is really cool in Salt Lake City. At least check it out once if you haven't ever checked it out.
And what's the one in Arizona that is pretty big there, G? Got it in Arizona, maybe, wasn't it? Big Sandy?
No, that's just a machine gun shoot.
Okay, all right. So yeah, I didn't know if you guys were spent the time, and if you have guys that are dedicated to going to different traders. Like I said, you guys are all over the place. Tac Daddy, different hats right now, so I can't imagine next months are going to be, but kind of give us an idea of what you got in store for the next 6 months.
I'm going to hit you with a curveball. First,
okay.
Jeff is absolutely correct. A lot of these guys go to the same school, and what I would advocate is making them commit, putting them on the spot. So, Jeff, what I do is when they say something like, all right, cool, and I say, great, so I'm going to call you, and they say, awesome, and I say, so what's going to happen when I call you? Tell me what's going to happen after that call. And then they're committed to it. Or I say something along the lines of, so when I call you, you're going to take my call, correct? and I just make them say it. And again, not offensive, just, man, you've been there, done that. I'm not trying to teach anything.
Teach me.
Make them commit.
Yeah.
What happens? You know, again, it's almost like that dating thing we were talking about prior to shot.
Yeah.
You know, you're going in and you're introducing yourself and saying, "Hi, I'm available. You're available. You know, are we going to be available together later, or are you just going to blow me off?"
Yeah.
Your number and the number's not the last two numbers aren't really the number, and I'm going to be an idiot calling that number. You know, or are you really going to take it and answer and be like, "Oh, hi, Jim, I remember you." So
yeah, I think that mentality of what's going to happen when I make the second phone call or stuff, it's kind of what they teach a lot of the times in sales. You will not close a sale if you don't ask the person to close it. You know that you want their business. So that's pretty much what you're trying to enforce in the last communication. It's like, hey, so I'm going to follow up so we can get this rifle on my hands and I can do a review for you, or like they're saying. Like like he said about what's the follow-up, what's the next step,
right.
So do you want I'm trying to spice up your chat here, do you want what it's like to go into a party? Do you want an invite only party, or like Grunt Styles party, or do you want how the NRA TV screwed us over a little bit? I'll give you one or the other.
Either one. Let's go NRA.
Right. I get involved and get information that the NRA wants to get Zero on for an interview. All right, cool, no problem. We figure out the times. I talk to the lead lady. We schedule the times. We confirm the times. I get on a plane and leave. He shows up on time. He does the spot with them. And if you go watch it, they're sitting there talking to him, and then they roll in some B-roll. But it's not Instructor Zero. It's the Paul and R Tactical spoof of Instructor Zero.
You're kidding me.
So
while his audio is going,
because they either did it on purpose or, which I doubt, they just have a really stupid idiot in the production department, and they said, "Go get some Instructor Zero B-roll." They typed in Instructor Zero. That's what came up in the search.
I'm not gonna lie though, Tack. I'm not gonna lie. That spoof of Zero, and he did it of Demo, and he did it of Hickok. It was pretty funny. Now, that being said, that's not the time or the place to be rolling that footage, but it was pretty fun. I bet you Zero was not a happy camper.
There
you go. All right. Well, Pablo, like I said, now the next few months obviously are going to be, I don't know if they're make or break, but I got a question for you: is how much, not necessarily, not necessarily you personally, but your team, how much of the next 6 months are you dedicated in trying to close deals? And then how much of it are you dedicated to designing next year's product? And I'm sure there's a kind of a thin line of which is when to start and how much is too much of the product and how much is, if you're not being innovative, like you said, if you're putting on the same stuff every year, eventually people are going to stop looking at it. So how much of it do you put into the innovation and design? And then how much of it do you have sales? And do you have teams that will work on sales year round, or what? How does that work for you guys?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, reality, we need to be doing both simultaneously, right? So we're like any company or growing company, you're resource constrained. So we're trying to do both, man. I mean, we have a very aggressive timeline to release new product. Continuing to round out our tuggables and the new hybrid that we're trying to get out there. We got to do our best at getting that out there as quickly as we can. But at the same time, we got to make sure that we're able to fulfill all the orders that we get. We got to make sure that we're closing these guys. So a lot of that falls on me. A lot of that is all the marketing side of things and the growth side of things. It's on me. But we can't just abandon the new product initiatives just for the sake of closing deals. So we have to balance that, and it's a good problem to have. As a growing company, I can't really complain about that. So if we got more deals than we can handle, and we got opportunities with new product that we can launch, we're in a good place. So. But yeah, it's a delicate balance, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those I just didn't know from your side. Let's see here. Okay, hey Jeff, thanks for coming on. You got to go. Thanks for coming on. You're busy and you got a phone call you got to take. So thank you for coming on. I appreciate you very much, and we'll talk to you soon. We got some stuff that I need to talk to you about anyway. So be safe. If you got anything you want to talk about real quick before you head out, go ahead and plug. I think JJ can probably do some plugging for you later on, but if there's anything you personally want to say before you leave and head out, go for it right now. He might already be gone.
Yeah, he might already be. I know that he had a call at pretty much 9:30 our time, which is 8:30 for you. So he might have come out.
So G had a comment in the side chat. You want to talk about what you were talking about right there, real quick, G?
Yeah, don't try to think this is some sort of an equation or some sort of a recipe, right? If you're creating content, hopefully you're enjoying it. So this is an opportunity to impress the people that you met. So I mean, I don't want to just, everybody's correct in their different strategies or their approaches, but don't necessarily judge your performance based on how they react to it or set yourself expectations like that. Have fun with your project. And now that you've gone and you've met people, incorporate that into your strategy, set yourself some goals and shoot for those goals. And if some of those goals are working with companies financially, great, but you have opportunity now, play with that a little bit, and you have an opportunity to impress them. So why try to replicate what somebody else did years ago and fail at it? Because you're not going to be able to replicate what they did. It's a different situation out there now. You've got a different audience, an audience that's much more mature. They've already experienced that old stuff. So play around, have some fun, experiment, and play with your audience and your content and the stuff that you collected and those relationships. And maybe you'll come up with something that doesn't, again, like you guys said, they don't care about your numbers. They care that you're in the game and that you're interested in their product. So maybe you can come up with some new thing. You're playing with the target of the month. Maybe there's a reward or something. I don't know. There's all kinds of ways to play with that.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm saying, don't judge it on some kind of spectrum of what other people have done in the past with SHOT Show or what people in other venues are doing with their projects. But, be realistic, set some fun goals, some lengthy goals or whatever, and then have fun with your projects.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm coming from is I actually had some really good talks with a lot of companies, and it's great for me. My SHOT Show goal was to go there, meet some people, but honestly was to get as much content as I could. And the reason why I wanted to do that is there were so many people that watch this chat and Clover's chat and all the other chats that go on that couldn't go to SHOT Show. And so my whole thing is if between Clover and a bunch of us, we all like different things. That was a great thing about Clover is he and I shot mostly different things. We had very few crossovers, but if we can bring SHOT Show to our friends and our viewers, that was my goal, was to shoot as much as I could and then present as much good quality content in the next few months so that people that don't have a chance to go could see SHOT Show. But more importantly, at that point, if we're able to maybe convince other people to go to SHOT Show, whether they are, manufacturers or distributors or content creators, because it is the one trade show the industry has, and it's an important week for all sides of the industry, the media side, the manufacturers and companies that are making the product and distributing the product. But the more people we can get, the more exposure that the Second Amendment and the gun community and the outdoor community are going to have. And I think that on the media side, that's extremely important. Now, am I going to turn down discussions with companies? Not if I believe in their product or if I use their product. I don't think any of us would turn down an opportunity to work with a company that we believe in and we like their stuff. I think that that's just human nature. Hopefully, maybe down the line that, and I have no grand ideas of what's going to happen this year. It might take 4 or 5 years to get in with some of these companies. It might not ever happen with some of these companies. But I think if I continuously put consistent quality content out there, then there might be some companies that sit there and say, hey, I kind of like this style. I kind of like his personality. I kind of like what he's doing, his direction of his channel. It's not just blowing pumpkins up. It's more, concealed carry, home and self-defense, and this, that, and the other are more politically driven. Then great, because that's who I am. And I'm not, like Clover said, finding people that are the same off camera as they are on camera, I think is important, because if a company sees my content and likes my content, but then meets me in person and I'm completely different, that's going to hurt my chances. So I think all of us here that are in the review and the media side of things, that's the great thing about everyone on this panel. That's why I had everybody here, is even Pablo. I mean, I spent maybe 5 or 10 minutes with Pablo at his booth, and we got along, and personalities seemed to mesh. But JJ and Jeff have been instrumental in helping us. And, Jeff helped us a month or so ago in another chat. JJ was pulling me off to the side in the hallway as we were hanging out in the media room and say, look, I know you're getting good quality stuff with your camera, but you might want to think about doing this. And all of those things for me are invaluable resources, because that's something that I can take from this year and already kind of plan if I need to go get a camera or something, a piece of gear, a new microphone system or whatever. I've got a year before next SHOT Show to plan those things, which is very, very important to me. Now I'm just going to kind of throw this open to the room. We're going to kind of go all out in the room, so you guys can answer any of this, whoever, kind of a wild links. We've been on for an hour and 40 minutes. We're going to maybe go on for maybe 10 or 15 more minutes, but I'm going to throw this out in the room, guys. Oh, Clover, did you say he had something? I heard you maybe saw something. Do you have something to add real quick?
No, I don't have anything. No.
I thought I saw your icon pop up. All right. Oh yeah, go for it, G. Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's an important thing to remember that people should buy things from gearwebsites.com.
Right.
That's right.
That just happened.
And I apologize to everyone there out in the chat. Like I said, I knew that there probably are going to be some questions in the chat. This was one of those chats that was going to be a little bit different than my normal platform and my normal style. So I apologize for any of you guys out there that had questions. I tell you what you want to do is, if you have any questions from any of these guys that are on the panel, email them to me at live@ghosttactical.us. I will forward those questions on to these guys and get some answers for you. Like I said, I apologize. But this was a chat that I had specific plans for and wanted to do that. But basically the question I want to throw out there is this. Do you think, because this is my first year there, but you guys have been there before, and even Pablo, this was your first year to have a booth, but you had been to SHOT before. Did the shooting in October in Vegas, did it seem to affect anything that you guys saw at SHOT this year?
Nothing at all.
No.
Nothing at all? Okay.
No. I saw some signs in the hotel that I don't recall seeing last year. That's about it.
Ghost and I had some Uber rides and
yeah, we did.
Interesting individuals, and a consensus we seemed to get from local people in Vegas is they were like, unsure of what really happened or what went on, or if anything. There was some conspiracy theorists, of course, mixed in there, wondering if anything actually did happen, if it was staged or whatever. It was kind of weird.
Did you guys go near that Mandalay Bay? I realized
I did. Yeah, I did.
I realized I drove past it, and there's freaking no way a bump stock could shoot over to that.
Yeah, I did. The Wednesday night, drove by it twice. Yeah.
I'll tell you, I was actually in Vegas when that happened.
Oh, really?
It was pretty bonkers. Yeah, it was a mess. A lot of misinformation and whatnot. We knew people that were there. It was nuts. And I flew out, I think, the day after, or 2 days after, and what you were seeing on the news. It was, you could see it plain as day. You're taking off, you could see all the windows shattered, all the whole thing. So, I don't know. I'm not an expert in any long range stuff like that, but it was very real what happened. I don't know how it happened. I don't know what exactly went down beyond what we're seeing, but man, it was crazy to be there then and then come back now, and just right. It's kind of like it didn't happen, so.
Well, I mean, so were you anywhere? Obviously, I mean, but were you anywhere near Mandalay or the festival when it took place, or were you down the strip or where?
Yeah, we were on the strip. We were at Caesars, and a couple of buddies of mine actually live out there. I actually got an invite to that same music festival the day before.
Yeah. Oh, so you were there at this? It was not at the 9, but you were at the same festival. That's wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. It was pretty intense. Yeah.
So, like, you were at Caesars or whatever. How quickly did word spread through Vegas that something had happened?
Very quickly, very, very quickly. And the thing is, nobody knew exactly what was going on. I mean, we heard all things like, God, somebody was saying that there were tanks at the Wynn, or like they were mobilizing, all sorts of stuff, and there was multiple shooters, and they were going down the strip, hotel to hotel. I mean, so nobody knew what to believe.
The word spread, but some weird stuff spread as well.
Weird, yeah, weird. I mean, weird. And then you went online, you couldn't figure out what was going on. So thankfully, since I have friends there, we were able to get off the strip, out the back ways and just go way out, towards the mountains and just hang out until we knew what the hell was going on. But I mean, shortly after we left, they were locking people down. It was another conference that I was attending, and everybody was stuck in their hotels. They couldn't move. No, they had to figure it out. So it was that was surreal for sure.
Well, I would imagine that, for a short amount of time, I'm sure all the hotels were thinking, is this a one-time thing, or is this something that's going to happen at other hotels throughout the night? And it was like a sequence of events that was the beginning of it. So I bet you most of the hotels were probably freaking out of, are we next or something? You never know.
Well, that's what I've done. I saw these signs in the, at the Venetian of the Palazzo, right when you come out of the parking garage, and it says, no firearms allowed in the hotel. And I'm like, man, I really don't remember seeing those last year. Maybe they were there and I didn't notice, but I don't remember seeing that last year. And then I have to, we're carrying crates and cases, and I mean, my God, we have people bringing guns into the hotel for this. I mean, it's you look around, you're like, man, nobody knows what the hell you're carrying around or what you're going to do with it. So, it's
Well, I'd also imagine that during the week of SHOT Show, it's a little bit different than the other 51 weeks of the year. They kind of expect there to be a lot of guns and gun people around. It was actually probably the safest place in the States of that week, Yeah, I have to imagine.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I thought it was pretty interesting this year, especially because of the events. I was thinking that there was going to be maybe more presence from people trying to boycott the show or complaining or picketing about it. And I didn't see any of that, which was kind of surprising, especially after what went on, at least on the news. We did hear of people complaining on how was it possible that SHOT Show was still going to go on in Vegas this year.
Well, and there was a lot of things, and I wish TAC was still here, but we had discussed something, and I think but maybe you guys heard also, is there was some talk about a lot of the firearm manufacturers, the way that you were going to have to store and ship and transport the firearms through a private security company, that might actually affect companies coming to SHOT, how much stuff they're going to bring to SHOT, because a lot of these companies apparently in the years past kind of hired their own transport and security, but now the NSSF was saying, no, you're going to use these specific ones. So I didn't see, like I said, I don't know the comparison, but I didn't see a lot of people that, only had a couple guns. It sounded like if you brought your guns, you brought all 20 of them that are in your arsenal, in your lineup. So I was expecting to maybe see some backlash, but apparently there wasn't. It wasn't as big of a deal as maybe it started out a couple months ago. Did you guys hear anything about the new storage and transport regulations that were being put out to the manufacturers?
I mean, as an exhibitor, we were getting messages about that the whole time. I personally would have loved to have an actual gun to, for people to play with in the holster. It's not the same as a blue gun. But the extra. I mean, I'm not sure if I would have brought them, to begin with. But the extra, hoops that I had to jump through just sealed it for me. Where it doesn't make any sense, for smaller guys to bring anything. So
yeah, and like you said, even if you were only going to bring 5 to 10 handguns, to different models and all that to just try out, I can't imagine, the fees. Once again, you said you had to pay for basically every edition. So the fees for stories, the fees for the transport, not only the logistics of it was probably, like you said, it wasn't worth it, I guess.
The deterrent. It was just like, well, they really don't want anybody bringing anything unless they're, the big guys. So it's, and that's fine. Whatever. But yeah, I was done with the fees. I was, I know I mentioned earlier how much the booth cost. I can promise you that the booth cost was a fraction of what we spent to be at the show. Just if anybody's still,
right. We'll see, and if you've never been to this show, and like I said, this is my first year, but now that I've kind of, even to a small extent, seen what goes on, you have these companies and vendors that are buying space for the booths. No matter what level, what floor, what size booth, you have this fixed expense of the booth. Then you have the add-ons. But if you're bringing multiple people to the show, you're talking about travel, you're talking about lodging, you're talking about meals for all those people for a week. And if you're one of these companies that throws parties, now you're talking about an enormous expense about renting a room, the food, the booze, all of that stuff that goes into hosting parties. I can only imagine, and someone was saying that there are some of these people that will spend 7 figures on SHOT Show at the end of the week, including everything. You're talking $1 million plus budget for a week. Obviously, that's probably for some of the high big dogs and all that. But I mean, even for Pablo, I would say that the expenses over the week, when you start counting up every little thing that you spent, did you spend more than you thought you were, or was it about kind of what you expected? And I don't want numbers. That's nothing of our business. But as far as, you went into Vegas thinking it's going to cost this much, was it about right, or would you spend less or more?
I think 6 months ago, I didn't think we would get as high as we did. And then, once I got to November, December, I was like, holy shit. We're
for wastebasket.
but at the end of the day, like I said, I mean, if you're gonna spend, if you're gonna spend some money to be there, with another couple grand or another whatever, like it shouldn't, if that's breaking the bank, you probably should.
You're already there,
But yeah, exactly. So it was like, well, now in hindsight, I came closer to what the revised number came in at, but. A lot of the stuff is the first time. You know what I mean? You got to buy the booth collateral. You got to buy all that crap, and then you got to lug it out there, and and you got to use their vendors, because if not, you're at a disadvantage. Your stuff might not make it. So yeah, it's crazy, man.
Well, the last segment, we've got about 10 minutes, and I'll shut it down. Thanks, guys, for hanging on as long as you have. But the last 10 minutes, the last segment that I want to talk on is, and I'll start with Pablo. I'll go back the other way. Doing what you did this year, have you already made plans for next year? Are there things that you would do differently next year than what you did this year after the experiences?
Yeah. So, well, they do a really good job of locking you in for next year while you're at the show. So, as most, as a good marketing company would, so we're already committed for next year. What would I do differently? I think we'd try to go a little leaner, to save, like you said, the hotels, the lodging, the meals, and all that stuff. It really gets crazy. We try to rotate staff, the whole time to keep people fresh, because you guys were talking about it. You're talking the whole time.
How many people did you bring? By the way?
We brought 5.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have, we're like 15 or so people in the company. So we brought a considerable amount of this.
Yeah.
So it gets expensive. So I think next year we'll try to lean that out a little bit. But you're switched on all day. It's exhausting, man. It's tough to be there, and every time somebody talks to you, you got to be, ready to go. So, but we're committed for sure. What would we do different? I think we would. I would probably send everybody all the information they request digitally instead of having so much printed collateral. I think it's just, you kind of feel like you have to do it, but in hindsight, the way that most people do business these days, like if you're at the SHOT Show, you're probably, not sending faxes and, doing things the old school way, which a lot of guys in this space still do. But, I feel like I can get away with just emailing, people the collateral instead of having to print everything out and worry about all that. So, but that's it. I mean, I think we, other than that, maybe a little more outreach in advance. Try to pre-connect with people. That's definitely something that you know, as an exhibitor, they give you access to send messages through the platform. I
Right.
leverage that a little bit more. You know, because that way, when you once you get to the show, you have a purpose, and you're not just hoping to meet people. You have a set agenda with everybody you're going to talk to. So,
Yeah.
Awesome.
JJ, you know, you guys did, like you said, you did something different this year where you started not taking as much content at the show, focused on the relationships and the content coming later. Is that something was it successful enough to where that might be a strategy that you carry on, or will there be a mixture next year of some different things for you guys?
I guess that's part of the reason why Jeff had kind of made a mention on the comments where it'll be interesting, you know, getting back together here in the 6-8 months from now and trying to see how much of that concretized. We, like I mentioned, we have a couple pretty good positive responses from some of the brands that we have talked to in the past, that items were somewhat offered, or when we asked, is like, hey, so are we going to get a rifle or something from you to review? And they're like, oh yeah, you know, we'll talk about it, you know, and nothing happened. And now this time around, it really seemed that it was mentioned or accepted that they had not provided anything before because we were still somewhat young in the gun side of the outdoor gear. So that's at least one of them. We've already made contacts with several other brands. You know, I mentioned Volquartz, and Volquartz already helped us out with one of their barrels for a pistol this past year. So we're hoping to continue that friendship and getting one of their rifles to review. They just picked up the straight pull 22 long rifle that used to be manufactured by PWS, is their Summit rifle, which I'm really eager to test. So I'm hoping for that one. And then one of the higher profile rifles, like the one that I mentioned, the Ruger precision rifle and the 22 long rifle platform that they just came out with. I would like to really to review that one as well. So along the way, hopefully, I mean, if I can get I don't know, 2 or 3 of those rifles of the companies that I spoke with, I'll definitely consider a success and worth my while at the end.
Absolutely.
So time will tell. Yeah.
Awesome. G, you've been doing this for so long. You kind of had to get creative, I guess, every year to kind of think of different ways of covering SHOT because you've been doing it so long. But do you have any ideas of what you're going to try to think about next year? Are we too far ahead yet?
Yeah, I mean, as far as objectives or whatever, I'd like to see us be a little more coordinated. It's fun to see a growing number of people covering it in different ways. Obviously, I'd like to unite the Second Amendment advocacy portion of it. And since we have the entire industry together for a week, we've got the industry, but as far as media, we've got the established media and we have the new media. Everyone's there. We're there for an entire week. We're in the same town. I really like to put effort towards making some sort of a presence where the Second Amendment groups can get together, and ideally they've already consolidated a message, right? A unified front or a unified position that we can all take, and then have those people that are there to cover the show just incorporate some networking and some a little bit of interest in the Second Amendment, like I say, unification, or just getting on the same track and meeting each other with that idea in mind. Because again, we're all going to go out there and talk about whatever areas of interest we're into: hunting, sports shooting, high-end, inexpensive, international, whatever, right? Everybody's got their own facets or multiple facets, their own audiences that they're fostering in different media platforms. Imagine the power we'd have if, coming out of SHOT, we all had a consistent, unified message like, let's tell the ATF to leave bump stocks alone. And if every hunter and every sports shooter and every competition shooter and everybody who's making an industrial widget for the firearms industry came out and talked to a politician, I suspect the Second Amendment wouldn't be a political topic. That would be a punching bag that they know they're going to get a response from. If they know the response is going to be overwhelming and unified, they're going to leave us alone, and then our industry can prosper. We can go out and get rid of sporting use. We can change that to lawful use. We can incorporate all this new technology with projectiles and with suppressors and with short and long different firearms out there, larger and smaller projectiles made out of whatever combination of materials we want, because, you know, ideally we'd push some of those boundaries back, some of those infringements, so that we'd have more opportunity for innovation. And, you know, that's where I'd like to see advancements made in what I try to do at SHOT Show.
Yeah, like I said, you know, and we all love the fact that you've been going for so long. But like I said, I can't imagine for you every year doing the same thing would probably get boring. But you know, I think that and that's what I was going to ask you also is this year, even with the ATF questionnaire that was out there, I did not hear a whole lot of Second Amendment activism. Is that typical, or is that something that's, you know, not usually discussed at the SHOT Show? Because I know that you were trying to get a summit, or at least people in the same room to get discussion going. But is politics really not a thing usually at SHOT, or what?
Yeah, it's not. It's an industry trade show. It's when business gets done. So I'd want to do that on the, you know, on top of all that. But we're also looking at a time when most of us are doing our content gathering with our phones. Most of us are making our appointments and our networking and our handshaking and all that with our phones, not with complicated apparatus and not with all kinds of stuff that we're dragging around. We're not bringing crews of people to drag around stuff. The same things happen on the manufacturer and industry side. They're able to do things easier and easier. Because NSSF refuses to take it anywhere decent, we're stuck in that stupid dungeon. So we all know the floor plan. Vegas is familiar with us. We're there every year. So every bit of it is getting easier and easier to deal with. So I'd like to think that, you know, as people add, or as layers are removed from us, layers of burden, layers of difficulty in communication and networking, then we can add a simple layer of Second Amendment message, right? I mean, we all have this in the back of our heads anyway, and, you know, it should be something simple to just add on top of. You know, we all learned to phones, we all went to smartphones from flip phones without any real issue. Add advocacy to the industry. Everyone benefits from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Clover, I think you and I, we've had this discussion a ton already just in the last few days, but why don't you kind of express what your thoughts are of our first experience, your first experience, and maybe some things that you might do differently looking back on this past year for next year?
Well, you sort of skipped me on the next, whatever.
Okay, I'm sorry. You're right. I sure did. So why don't you take the floor, my friend, and talk about the next 6 months and then preparing for next year?
Well, I mean, I've got some reasoning and some ideas that are
shows this week. You can talk about it.
Well, that's true. That's true. But I've got some reasoning and some things that are a little different, maybe than everybody. Some things that I see, and that's one reason that I approached, in particular, one manufacturer there at SHOT, being Lyman, specifically. It's an old company, obviously, tons and tons of product, that sort of thing, but big in the reloading market. And that's one thing that I do and have done on my channel in the past, set up in playlists and everything else that people are surprised. They're like, oh, you've got reloading videos. Well, duh. And with this California thing, there seems to be a rise in people that are reloading and stuff out that way. And with new people getting into reloading, there's been talk about new shows and other things out there. And so I wanted to touch base with them. I see it as an opportunity to maybe, forge a relationship there, to be able to review and present some products. I use a lot of Lyman stuff already, so not hard to do. And then also, point some of those new reloaders as they're coming on in a right direction, and teach them to do it safely. Get them familiar with the basics and all that stuff, and hopefully let them run with it and have some fun. As far as things to do differently goes, more time. You can't do it in 2 days. I mean, you need all week. Period. So
yeah, for sure.
My number one thing to do differently is to try to swing it. And I mean, I did real good. I haven't put pen to paper or pencil to paper just yet. Been busy since I got back, but I will do that and figure out what the cost actually was. But at the per night for the room and splitting it, especially if we split it or if we do something like that,
right?
Then I can easily see, or another 2 nights is not going to be a huge deal, and staying longer is not really going to affect the airfare. That's going to be more lodging, lodging in the Uber. Let me back up, lodging in the Uber. So, and meals and that sort of stuff. But, I think it's something that's doable. That said, I've got some other things I got to deal with, which is the training that I had to be back for that weekend. But I actually had a instructor candidate shadow me this past weekend.
Oh, good. You might have someone that next year.
Yeah, so she is now can be an archery instructor. So that may open me up. That doesn't mean that they might not have to pull me for a shotgun or any of the other various disciplines. But yeah, I mean that potentially could free me up. So that's a good thing. If not, then that's something that I'll have to try to work around and figure out. I don't think that's anything I'm willing to give up to stay at SHOT for that long, but I could definitely figure out a way to at least get a full day Thursday in. I think, if nothing else. Yeah,
and that's my goal is to maybe fly out Friday, Thursday.
Yeah, it's going to be tight. It's going to be tiring. To fly back and then the very next morning have to get up and have 2 days worth of training that I teach. But it can be done. I mean, I think I can handle it. So, staying longer is my number one thing for next year. Number one improvement.
You guys know.
Go ahead, G. Go ahead.
It was a week late this year, so normally it's a week earlier.
Okay. My biggest thing was time, and not only the time that I'm actually there. I'm definitely want to leave on Friday afternoon instead of Thursday afternoon. That gives me the all day Thursday to do more stuff. But time management, and there might be a strategy that you go the strategy, excuse me, but it goes away. I got the plague. I got the SHOT Show plague. No, just kidding. But there might be a day to sit there and follow up with people that you have forged relationships with over the past year on day one. And then day 2, you might try to get new appointments. And then day 3, now, if we're there all 3, day 3, then you worry about new, relationships and all. I don't know what that is, but I do know that an extra day will help that tremendously.
Well, and for us, and it's not necessarily so with the, a lot of different ones, but for us in particular, swag collection, is something that you got to viewers.
I wanted to bring as much stuff for our viewers and supporters and patrons and all that as we could. So that's a whole other thing, is trying to collect enough swag that you have enough for a lot of people that supported you. So that's a whole nother point. JJ, you had something you wanted to say earlier?
No.
Okay. I saw you take the mute off, so I didn't know if you were. All right, so what I want to do, guys, it's been over 2 hours. Thank you guys for sticking around. I'm going to go through the room real quick and let you guys plug your websites, your products, all that stuff. Guys out there in the chat, thank you so much. We were up around 50 there for a while, and considering Yankee was on, I was very, very pleased. So thank you guys. We're still at 20 something right now, 27. 2 hours later. So thank you guys for watching. I apologize once again if we didn't see all your questions and I didn't reach all of you guys. Please email me any questions at live@ghosttactical.us, especially if you have questions for JJ or Pablo or Sean or Jeff or any of these guys. I will make sure that I get those questions to them, and we'll go that route. But Pablo, I want to start with you first. Thank you so much for joining. It was great meeting you at SHOT. And I'd like to talk to you a little sometime later on. But thank you for your perspective of SHOT, because I wanted to make sure we got someone in that was maybe their first or second time there as an exhibitor and kind of get your thoughts and processes on it. But thanks for coming on. I'd love to have you on anytime you want. But go ahead and take this time to plug the product, plug the website, and all that stuff to all the viewers.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Hopefully, I'll get to work with a bunch of you guys directly here. For everybody out there, Concealment Express, inside the waistband and tuggable holsters, cover most of the popular models out there, 90 plus colors, you name it, we make it, mass customization, next day service. So check us out, Concealment Express. Thanks a lot, Jeff. Thanks a lot, Trey. Thanks a lot, everybody, and look forward to the next one.
Absolutely. Thanks, Pablo. And hey, you're welcome anytime. So if you ever want to jump back on, shoot me an email or give me a shout. And I'd love to have you on anytime. I love your perspective, but your personality fits with everybody here too. So we can just talk guns sometimes, not even talk business if you want. So we talk all sorts of stuff on the show. So anytime you guys want to jump in, let me know, and I'd love to have you. But thanks for coming on, Pablo. Appreciate you, man. JJ, go ahead and plug away, brother.
Well, guys, as you know, we're gear-report.com. We usually just commonly named as gearreport.com. You can find us in the different social media platforms, but we are mainly a written review site. We are not quite that much of the entertainment kind of deal. We're truly trying to bring out the information on our perspective of what we believe, how the guns or any of the camping outdoor gear that we review performs for us, and give you an insight so you guys can make informative decision on purchasing the products. That way you won't be doubt, or you won't be unsatisfied that you purchase the reviews that we've had on them. Check us out. On my perspective, at least on the 22 long rifle, the biggest emphasis that I make is on the accuracy of the rifles, and that's pretty much the same approach that we take on the center fire, on pistols, and everything that we do. We really try to, on my side, I try to do a shoot with at least 6, if not more, brands or types of ammunition of the 22. And I shoot at 40 yards and pretty much tell the tale if the rifles are accurate or not. And that's pretty much how I would recommend them or not, depending on how they perform. So that's usually the part that I like the most. Jeff has his segment, managing all of us that write for him. And he stays pretty busy with that. And
I bet.
Editing a lot of the articles and everything that we write, make sure that they're okay before they get promoted on the site. So still check us out.
I got a quick question for you. When you do a typical review, and let's just say it's how many rounds do you typically put through that firearm before you're convinced? I mean, is it a set number, or you just shoot until you're convinced that you've got the proper information to put out there? Do you hear me, JJ?
Well, like I mentioned, my accuracy test, it involves anywhere between 6 to 10 or maybe more different types of ammo. And I usually shoot at 40 on a shooting rail. So I try to impart the least motion or anything from my part on the rifle. Speaking rifle wise, I do the same thing with pistols also, because I have shooting rails for both. But brand at 40 yards, and then I pretty much do a calculation of what is the square inch that all of the rounds, and before then, I'll shoot. So you're already looking about 60 rounds just for one rifle. And before then, I'm putting anywhere between another 40 or 50 rounds to make sure that the rifle is zeroed,
Right.
and broken the rifles in a little bit to make sure that that's the same kind of performance that somebody's going to be able to get from firearms.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that don't know, for what you guys, how much effort and work it puts into doing, a thorough review of a gun, an independent review of a gun. People don't know. You're not going out there with a couple magazines and a pistol, shooting, two 15-round mags and say, hey, it shoots great, it's accurate. If to do a proper review that's going to be respected by the community and the, that company, you've got it takes a while. So it's going to take time, and it's going to take effort, and it's going to take ammunition to do it the right way. But I think that's why you guys have been successful, as you do it the right way. And I wanted you to answer that because I don't think people, like I said, people truly understand what a true review would all it entails. So thanks for that. I appreciate it. And thanks for coming on, JJ. Tell Jeff, I know Jeff's still listening. He's on a phone call. But, guys, I really enjoyed getting to talk and know you guys the last month or in a couple weeks. You guys are welcome anytime you ever want to come back. Let me know, and I'd love to have you on. So thank you for coming on tonight. I really appreciate it. Clover? Hey, no worries. Anytime, JJ. Like I said, I enjoy it, so come on over. Clover, plug away, man.
Clovertech.com. Obviously, you can shop there, do a lot of different things. Brownells, Natchez, Rocky, Tandem Cross, Forge from Freedom. Good Lord, just about any place you could think just about to shop. Also, the influencer store. I've uploaded some, or was it uploaded? It's not uploaded. Added, I guess. Some more products, especially some Lyman stuff, to the influencer store there. That's all stuff that is Tactical Leprechaun approved. That's things that I own, I use. Don't think they will let you down. So check that out if you're looking for different gear, man. I've got things in there from electronics to reloading stuff to firearm accessories to even some clothes. So it's a pretty cool little feature that Amazon gave us here not too long ago. Other than that, you can find me YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, iTunes, pretty much anywhere. Just type Clovertech in Google. You'll find me. I'm easy to find.
If you can't find them, go to clovertech.com, and you can link anywhere from that one particular spot if you can't find all the other stuff. So,
oh, absolutely.
As always, brother, we kind of went in as newbies together, and we stayed together. I think both our experiences were very, very, very positive. So I want to say I enjoyed spending shot with you, and I look forward to a lot of awesome times. But thanks for coming on as always, bro.
You bet. Yeah, we do. We cover different things and we have different interests, but our approach and our methods are very, very similar. So it just works out.
It does. And we get along, so we're not going to have to fight about the hotel and all that. So it all worked out beautifully.
It's easy to get along when you're poor, right?
All right, G Webs. Thank you for coming on as always. Tack was here earlier, but you kind of pushed Clover and I after Wanamaker, kind of pushed us and said, look, you guys have been to Wanamaker, you know the madness. You've been very instrumental in the last few months for myself, and I think Clover said the same thing, but thank you for pushing us and convincing us that we can handle shot. It was an amazing experience, and all your help that you've had and wise comments have been great. But I want to say thank you personally as well. You've been instrumental to preparing me and especially me, but I think Clover would agree for our first times. But thank you for coming on. And do you have anything to plug that you need to talk about on the Daily Gun Show or whatever like that?
Well, I want to thank you for having me on the show. And then I would say I wouldn't have done any of it if I knew that all this was going to lead to Clover taking my knife. So
he stole your knife.
I do have your freaking knife, don't I? I promise you I will mail it back to you if it ever shows up here. If it doesn't, then I'll pay you for it. You can buy another one.
Well, the idea was I brought some knives out because you guys were traveling in the airplane. You didn't want to bring knives, I guess. So,
Yeah.
so that you could review them. So that's a SOG that they gave me. So review it, and then we'll move it along. We'll just start moving it along to GunChannels people. So don't send it back to me. We'll send it off to maybe Alice or something.
That's a cool idea. Yeah, let's do that.
It's a great idea. Yeah.
Ghost didn't get one from me because we just didn't meet up. So that's one of the things you asked before. What are we going to do differently? I hope our guys are going to meet up. But you guys have been patting yourselves on the back. This is your first year. You guys missed a lot of stuff. Number one, you didn't go to any parties. So by not going to a party, you can't say that that's not part of SHOT. That's a big, big part of SHOT.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, sure.
So put that in your list next year. But we didn't meet up as a.
I wasn't anticipating getting invited, but next year I would like to be able to maybe get invited to some of that stuff. Yeah.
You don't sit around just like going on dates. You don't just sit around and have the best looking girl come up to you, right? You go make it happen. So parties are just like any parties anywhere. You go into a party. So the other thing is we were a crew. We had quite a few people there. We had 3 locations and we did not work together. We did not meet up. We did not work as a team. I want to have each other's backs next year. So
I agree with that 100%.
But there were things that we can work on next year. But yeah, I appreciate it. You guys are doing cool. And when you talk about what is there to do at SHOT, I enjoy watching people go to SHOT and the community and the whole thing develop. And you guys are a big part of that. So whatever, thank me all you want, but I really thank you. And I'm sure your audience is thanking you as well, because it's through your eyes that they get to experience the industry as well. And you guys are creating new perspective on the industry. When Nothing Fancy or a Hickok or an Eric go to SHOT, their cameras aren't looking at it the same way you guys are. So that means their audiences are seeing it differently than you guys are. They're getting talked to differently and they're looking at it differently. So you guys are bringing, interesting and I think important aspect to the whole thing. So thanks for doing it.
Well, and that's what
you didn't go there and make profit. So I do appreciate that you did.
Yeah. We went there to bring content to our viewers and bring product to people that we believe in. That I believe in, that I like. I could have gone to any booth out there, and I skipped a lot of them, but I went to booths that I thought I liked the product, and maybe the viewers would like it as well. So you try to keep it in mind your viewership also of what they kind of like. And yeah, we're going to miss some, and we had some requests that we couldn't quite get to, but that's the whole thing is time management, and having that extra day next year would most definitely be beneficial to try to get to some of those requests from the viewers and our supporters and all of that. So yeah, for sure. Sorry, Glover, go ahead.
I forgot what I was going to say now. So
good.
I don't know.
Just kidding. Well, guys, if you guys have anything else that you want to say before we get out of here, great. If not, I want to say thank you to the YouTube side. We had a good crowd out there, considering Yankee was on the exact same time. So thanks, Yankee. Prick. Hope he's feeling better, though, actually. Yankee's a great guy. Got a chance to hang out with him quite a bit at SHOT. And for those of you that wonder about Yankee, he is the exact same off camera as he is on, and you have to respect that. He is brash. He is outspoken. He speaks his mind, which I love. And it's not fake. And but he will hate me saying this. Yankee is a good guy, and deep down inside, I think that he would help someone that he knows and likes. He helped Clover out on a thing on Wednesday night.
He would help somebody that's real.
It's real, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So get well, Yankee. Hope you get over the plague. Thank you once again to Pablo, to JJ, to Jeff, to G-Webs, to Clover, and Danny was here earlier from Full Mag. Go check them out. And Sean Sample was here from 2A Guys and Gear. Go check them out. They had a cutout earlier, but I want to say thank you to everyone. He has no filter on or off camera. That's for sure. We're talking about Yankee. I want to say thank you to everybody out there on the YouTube side. Thank you so much. We still have 18 after 2.5 hours. Not bad considering Yankee was on the exact same time. Thank you, everybody on the Gun Channel side. Thank you so much. I love you guys. If you're not interested, if you're not familiar with Gun Channels, gunchannels.com is a free community that's pro 2A, pro gun, have a 24-hour lobby chat that you can kind of find anything about guns. Come over there and hang out. It's kind of the water cooler of the gun community. Come over there and hang out, talk to these guys. Most of your content creators that you watch throughout the week or over on Gun Channels as well. But it's a great place to come over there and talk guns and be with your own. So if you're interested, come on over to gunchannels.com. It's free to sign up. Guys, go check this out. I want to do a quick shout out. I had some new patrons over the last week on Patreon. I want to say hi to Nate. So much, thank you so much, Nate. What you did was awesome. Thank you so much. He is a Force Recon patron over there. Car Carrier. Car upgraded his patronage. So thank you so much. On top of that, he sent probably one of the best emails as a content creator that you can ever get from someone who supports you. He sent just most amazing email to me that kind of lifted my spirits and kind of said, I'm doing something right. So thank you for that, Car. You don't know how much that meant to me. And then I had one this morning. I think Clover did as well, but I want to say hello to Jeffrey Flores. Jeffrey came on as a Go Squad member at Patreon, so I want to say thank you to Jeffrey and everyone out there that are already patrons of mine. You don't know how much that means to me to think that you guys think enough of what we're doing, that you want to help support the channel. If there's anything I can ever do for any of you guys, I'm literally a phone call or email away. So thank you so much for all of that. Thank you for everyone who's watching later on. If you have any questions for these guys on the panel, like I said, email me at live@ghosttactical.us. If you have any questions about products or anything in general, go ahead and shoot me an email. I'd love to answer them for you. Be on the lookout on my channel, on gearreport.com, on 2A Guys and Gear, gun websites, CloverTac. All of us here are going to be putting out some content about products that we have seen or we're going to be reviewing. I've already put out a couple videos. Clover's put a couple videos. G's put some out. Go check out Concealment Express holsters, concealmentexpress.com. I spent some good time with Pablo and these guys. They've got some really cool stuff. The tuckable holster is the real deal. So, guys, go check them out as well. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in for Tactical Tuesday. It was a long one. It was a great one. Am I missing something here on the internal chat? No parties. Let's see here.
No,
all right.
I think that's all inside talk.
Right. So
in real life.
Yeah, I hear you. So, guys, I want to say thank you one more time to everyone who's tuned in. This has been a wonderful chat. I think there's been some great information passed along. So, and if you're thinking about going to SHOT for the very first time next year, don't think about it. Just go and have a blast and get some work done. I had a great time with some friends, but I put my head down and I try to bust it. Clover did the same thing. G and all these guys busted their tails. There's a time to work. There's a time to have fun. We busted our tails, and I think that in the end of it, not only on the creator side, the media side, the review side, but even Pablo on the exhibitor side, busting your tail and busting your ass and working hard that week will pay huge benefits at the end. So thank you guys so much. We're going to talk about the Blitz tonight. That's right, the Gun Channels Blitz. And what we're talking about tonight, guys, is if you're not familiar with the Gun Channels Blitz, it's a lot of that we do is we're trying to help the new content creators that are just now turning their cameras on. They're putting some stuff out there. We're trying to get everyone to go and check out their stuff. And if you like them, and if you like their stuff, subscribe to them, hit the notification bell, find a video that you like, and comment in that video you've been hit or whatever by the hashtag Gun Channels Blitz. And what this is we're letting everyone know that we're going to support our own, especially the young and smaller creators that are just starting out. A lot of the time, sometimes a little help out there goes a long way to really kind of feel good about what you're doing and make sure that everyone sees your stuff and talks about your stuff. I really do appreciate everybody out there. Thanks everyone for coming. Who are we going to go with the Gun Channels Blitz tonight? You guys have any idea?
You know, I was looking at that earlier.
We've caught
I was thinking about. Well, I know. We started that back when it was really trying to help and give shout outs. There were so many that we wanted to get to that 100 mark.
Right.
You know, because of that milestone, and most every one of them are well beyond that point at this point. I mean, they're well into that 100, sub territory. So it makes it kind of hard to pick one sometimes. So I'm just gonna say I would say let's go Sarge, just because we haven't
let's
talked
go
about
Sarge.
for a while.
I didn't know if he had already covered Sarge, but we're gonna go Sarge, which is C4 Defense. Go check his channel out there. I'm going to
and he just got on Instagram too, by the way.
He is on Instagram now. So Sarge is putting some awesome stuff. He brings a little different perspective to his reviews and his videos out there, which is an awesome side of it. But yeah, Sarge is really good. I'm going to go over, get his link real quick and put it in there. Here we go. Copy. So if you're in a chat, this is C4 Defense or Sarge, whatever you want to call him. That's his link. Go to his channel. If you like his stuff, subscribe, hit the notification bell, help him out. More importantly, find a video that you do like and make a comment in there. Hashtag GunChannels Blitz. So you've been hit by the blitz, Sarge. I appreciate you all that you're doing. It's awesome stuff. I want to thank everybody once again. I've been rambling on. It's been 2.5 hours. Holy shit. Thanks for everyone. Thanks my panel for sticking in with me. It's been a long night, but it's been a great night, especially for the people that have been expressing interest in SHOT Show and all of that. Yeah, we can definitely do that, JJ, at any time. But thanks again, guys, and I hope you guys come back and see us next Tuesday. Make sure you check out Clover. His chat tomorrow is the next generation. It's where he talks about youth shooting and getting more kids involved and what they can do. So it's the next generation tomorrow at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. Obviously, you have Never Enough Ammo's chat after that. Remember, guys, every night, Monday through Friday, on the Gun Channels and on YouTube, you've got the Daily Gun Show hosted by G Webbs and Bob and Jimmy. It's at midnight Eastern. It's a great way to close out your day where they bring all sorts of different topics. It's every night, Monday through Friday at 12 Eastern. Go check out the Daily Gun Show. You won't be disappointed. But once again, guys,
we're talking about the $1,000 dinner that you guys didn't want to go to.
The $1,000. I would have loved to have gone to the $1,000 dinner, but I was literally in the air when y'all were spending $1,000 on dinner.
I was probably stuck in traffic.
I think they had a special $600 to-go bags.
Oh, is that right? Oh, see, I could have had a $600 doggy bag. So, yeah, welcome to Vegas, right?
I'd have had to work the street corner to pay for it while I was in Vegas. So,
and nobody wants to see that.
Wouldn't have worked out. I know, right?
No.
I think we're talking about the story of it though on the Daily Gun Show at midnight.
All right.
Oh, cool.
So go check out the Daily Gun Show. DGS is on YouTube and on GunChannels.com. So it's awesome stuff. Go check them out. Thanks again, once again, guys. Thank you. And we're going to get out of here and go see our families and all that stuff. But thanks again for watching. Semper Fi.